Okay, we'll start. कार्पण्यदोषोपहता स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेता यश्रेयः स्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं सादिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते एवं परंपरा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदु सकालनेह महता योगो नष्टः परन्तप परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं तु पुनर्जन्म नयति मामेति स्वर्जुन तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्षयन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयोनय एव ते आद्य अन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधा भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मतः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay. So which shloka we were there last time? Yeah, anyone remembers?
334.
This we did, yes. Nirasva nirmamo bhutva yudhasva bigajvara. Yes, we discussed this thing. Yes, this also we discussed. Correct. We are on 33rd or 34th.
34.
34th, okay. Okay, so these are belonging to same section, so we'll discuss from here, 33 onwards. So what we have done till date, we have done the parts where Arjuna is in confusion in the beginning of this chapter, Karma Yoga. He's asking question, what is better for him, to fight or to take renunciation from work? So then Krishna says that actually there are two kind of people, Dvida Nishtha, two kind of people. So one who has faith in karma, one who has faith in jnana, empirical knowledge. So both of them can attain perfection. But then Krishna says that the jnani person, or basically the sannyasi who gives up the work, he has to be purified in his heart. If he thinks that without purification of heart I can give up the work and thus I can become free from reaction of the work, that is not possible. And that's why Krishna starts mentioning about the pretenders. Mithyachari sauchyate. So who is a mithyachari? Who does not act, who does not engage in karma indriya, and he then focuses on, inside his mind, he's again focusing on sense gratification. So he is utilizing his karmendriya in mind but not externally. So that is what it is called mithyachar. So Prabhupada mentions that it is for wanton living one should not take to the path of renunciation. One should take the path of renunciation only for the purpose of spiritual advancement. And then the next shloka says that it is better that one should be in one's own prescribed duty, situated in prescribed duty, and simultaneously he should cultivate Krishna consciousness, or basically he should do Niskam Karma Yoga. Means earn money, then get your facilities, and also become detached from result. Means Niskam Karma Yoga. Maintain your body, health, family, and do the work, and then also offer to Krishna the result of one's work. So then that is more better situated. Then somebody is only giving up the work and not even his heart is not clean, and he is situated, he trying to show off that I am situated in renounce order. So it's not correct. Premature renunciation of work is not recommended. So we saw that section. Then Krishna even also says that living entity is always active. Not because of three modes, but living entity himself is always active. And when he gets these three modes, he becomes active according to the modes. In mode of goodness, he seeks for knowledge and santi, sukham jnanam. And in the mode of passion, he looks for more material enjoyment, passion. And in the mode of ignorance, he does not know what is life. He just thinks that lower kind of happiness is the happiness. So therefore he goes for drinking wine, sleeping a lot, like that. So then Shastra says, whatever modes you are in, better you become situated in the duties given by the Shastra. So Shastra gives the duties for people who are in mode of goodness, who are in mode of passion, who are mixed passion and goodness, and then again ignorance. So like that. So Shastra gives the duties for them. So no issue. Wherever you are, Shastra, follow Shastra. That is the whole thing. Then these things, then Krishna at last says 3.9 that what is you should do. Yagnarthat karmano netra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Arjuna, yagnarthat karmano netra. You should do work for pleasure of yagya. Means yagyo by Vishnu. For the pleasure of Vishnu you should do work. So after saying that, then what is that? If those people who want to enjoy their results, who don't want to directly work for yagya, so then Krishna says that this creation was created with this viewpoint that yagya should be encouraged, because people need their necessities of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, whatever they need. So that need will be provided by the nature, or the who are the administrator of all such necessity, demigods. So they will provide those necessities for meat eater, or for vegetarian, or for anyone. Every living entity in this world, they subsist on grains. So everyone has to do yagya, because how the yagya is done? Through our work, which is prescribed in the scripture. So when we do the work according to the scripture for the pleasure of the Lord, then that is called yagya. But here the question was that those who don't want to do yagya. So no, Krishna says ki you may not do yagya directly for Vishnu, you can do for yagya for demigods. Something you have to do. So Krishna does not say that, okay Arjuna, oh, no problem, we'll stop yagya because somebody did not want to sacrifice. No, if you cannot sacrifice wholeheartedly everything in pure motive without any desire, then at least do with the desire. Even if we have desire for material enjoyment, no problem, still do yagya. Still do yagya. And then Krishna mentions, without yagya, the life is sinful. One is living that life in vain. That is not the life a human should live. That is the animalistic life. And then he suffers because istena eva saha. Who is that person? Istena eva saha. He is a thief. Istena eva saha. चोर चोर चोरी करता है. कहाँ से? किसी का घर से चोरी करता है. सो ये घर किसने बनाया? भगवान ने बनाया. घर के अधिकारी कौन है? डेमिगॉड्स हैं. सो उनसे पूछ कर लेना है. उनसे पूछ कर नहीं लिया, चोरी कर लिया. चोरी करके अपना पेट फुला के खाता है. वो बॉडी बनाता है, पेट फुलाता है. एंड देन he works very hard in this world to enjoy more and more. So even though he is a thief, but still his tendency is to do more sinful activities. Or no constructive activity, only sense enjoyment. So that's why he is thief as well as he is also sinful. Actually, he cannot be happy. He is not a pious person. So this we saw. So see, karma yoga chapter is only teaching us what is the value of yajna. And if one does not do yajna, one becomes sinful, and then he has to suffer. Then he says, Krishna says that actually, Arjuna, you should do Niskam Karma Yoga to set the right example. Like King Janak, actually a self-realized soul has no duty to do, but still they do like King Janak. So King Janak, he did Niskam Karma Yoga. He was a liberated soul, but still he was in kingship position and he was ruling the world. And he was showing through his own activities how normal people should follow. So Niskam Karma Yoga, or in a general sense, in our sense, devotees should still be engaged in activities of the worldly activities according to their ashram, and so they should teach others how they should act. So detached dutiful work. We have to do detached dutiful work. Niskam Karma Yoga to set the right example. And then Krishna says that actually, if somebody does not follow his order, what will happen? And if somebody follow, what will happen? So we saw that how if somebody is envious of Krishna, then he will surely suffer in next life and in this life also. And one should do one's duty according to one's nature for purification instead of imitating others. So this is another, we saw that one should not change one's nature. Whatever God has made us, in that nature we should do our activities. Do not imitate others. So this is a section we are going to deal today. Because Krishna says that Arjuna might think that Krishna, you are saying that some people envy you, they don't follow you, so then you give them some suffering or they get some trouble. So what about those people who are even knowledgeable people? They also don't follow you many times. Then Krishna says that. So that is the sections here. ओके अभी कौन पढ़ेगा? हाँ, गुरमीत प्रभु हैं क्या? गुरमीत प्रभु, yeah, all devotees can open their videos. Yes, because if you don't make some rules, then सभी लोग सो जाएंगे. It's a rule for everyone, not for one or two. Okay, Mahadev Keshavu, you can read. Sadrisham chestate swasaya prakrite jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Yes.
Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repressions accomplish?
So there is a positive side of our nature, there is a negative side of our nature. What is the positive side of a Brahmanical nature? Can anyone guess or say? A Brahmana, what is his positive side and what is his negative side? Anyone? ब्राह्मण का क्या क्वालिटी होता है और वो किस में निपुण होता है, वो क्या करता है?
यजन याजन पठन पाठन.
हाँ, यजन याजन पठन पाठन. Yes, okay. Basically Brahmana, he wants to study. Yes, patan patan is very primary for him. Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means reading the Vedas, because everything what he does, he learns from Vedas. Yes, he learns from Vedas, and then he practices that Vedas in his life. That is yajan yajan and then dana pratigraha. So his main source of earning is basically reading from Vedas and practicing that knowledge. And his basically everybody practices knowledge from Vedas only, but the thing is that he is quite like an academic person, as well as he's also practical also. Not I'm saying academics, but he's more dependent on the Shastra. simple living. So this is one thing for the Brahmana. This is positive side. So he wants to read scriptures, learn many scriptures. Therefore Prabhupada says teacher means he should be Brahmana, because Brahmana can study well and he can teach well. Okay, next, what is his negative side? His negative side is argument. If he learns, then he will start doing bitanda. ये गड़बड़ है, वो गड़बड़ है, ये गड़बड़ है, तो ये वो चालू हो जाता है. तो ये नेगेटिव साइड है एक्चुअली. इसलिए आपने पहले बार देख कर सुना होगा बहुत सारे ड्यूरिंग चैतन्य महाप्रभु टाइम, हाउ मेनी डिबेट्स यूज्ड टू हैपन ऑन ग्रामर, जस्ट ऑन ग्रामर. एक ग्रामर को पकड़ के इतने लोग पीछे. एंड चैतन्य महाप्रभु वाज आल्सो एक्सपर्ट. शिरोमणि, he was a proud person in his time when he was Nimai Pandit. So he had to defeat people like anything. He will tell that, okay, whatever you are saying, I am saying this thing. And he will prove that whatever he said was wrong. And then after establishing the truth, he will again prove his statement to be wrong. Like this, he used to go for 1 to more. And so people used to get confused. ये बोल क्या रहा है, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. तो तर्क वितर्क करना, ये इसका नेगेटिव साइड है ब्राह्मण का. ओके, what is negative side of positive side of Kshatriya and what is negative side? Yes, anyone?
He rules the kingdom according to the Shastras. The positive side. Under the directions of Brahman and sages.
Kshatriya will give the protection to the poor who have not have strength that much. The protection.
Correct. So he gives protection to Praja from the rogues, thieves. But we have also seen the India, our previous Bharata. It was looted by Kshatriyas. Yes. So there is a aggression in them to loot public, to levy heavy tax dalna, and then take the money from the people and then torture them, make them slaves. So this is aggression, violence. So they were powerful to protect the people, not to create aggression or not to torture people. So this is a negative side, that the Kshatriya may unnecessarily torture people or levy heavy tax. So Prabhupada says nowadays government is doing same thing actually. They are not Kshatriya anyway, they are Sudras only, but they have taken the post of administrative heads. So then what they are doing, they are putting very heavy taxes. So Prabhupada says that government should see that people should be happy first. पैसा मत लो, पहले उसके सुख को देखो, whether they are happy or not. But first see that what I can help people to become happy. Then I can look for the money from them. Yes. So first project should be what should be the purpose of government? To protect people, to keep them happy actually. And how the people will remain happy? When they follow the Shastra, when they live a life of a disciplined human being, civilized human being, then they will be happy, dharmic human being. The dharma should be seen, whether it is followed by Christians, Muslims, Hindus, everybody is following the dharma or not. Secular government means that, not that you don't follow anything. This is Kshatriya. So like that Vaishya also comes. So Vaishya, positive side is he earns money, and negative side is cheating. He also cheats to earn profit. Shudra, positive side is to become loyal, negative side is to become disloyal. Basically, it happens. Means to become attached to wealth, facilities. This is Sudra side. Negative side. He becomes attached to wealth and facilities and sense gratification. That is negative side of Sudra. The Sudras. So if somebody in modern times education is making Sudra everyone, it means what? Even the people may have tendency to work like a Brahmana, but they are made dependent on somebody else to give them job, to give them salary, to make them. So Sudra means who search for a master. If he does not get master, he is a Sudra. Means he cannot live. He is like a street dog. वो गली का कुत्ता बन जाता है. तो उसको क्या चाहिए? एक मालिक चाहिए जो उसको घर का कुत्ता बना के रखे. तो Sudra means one who wants a master who can make him pet dog. Otherwise, he will be street dog. Means he cannot utilize his life by himself properly. Paricharyatakam. So means is a paricharya means somebody should guide his life. Then only he can live his life. That is called Shudra. So modern time, same thing is happening. We can see the whole government as well as the rulings have become like Sudraik. Not much changes can be done. Okay, so here Krishna says that even a man of knowledge act according to his own nature. What repression can accomplish? So therefore, the Shastras, they try to say that swabhava, whatever swabhava, good swabhava is there, one should work with the good swabhava and one should diminish the bad swabhava. The Brahmana's bad swabhava is tark vitark. So that you should diminish it. And you should encourage the good swabhava of yajan, pathan, dan, pratigraha. So that swabhava you encourage, flourish it, and that you diminish it, the negative one.
May I read, Prabhuji?
No, we have completed. Next we'll. So basically, Prabhupada says that here one can't be free from the influence of modes of nature unless one is on a transcendental platform. Highly educated person on mundane platform, he can also not get away from Maya. Yes. Or even with theoretical knowledge that I am a spirit soul, that is also not sufficient to get away from Maya. So when the shloka says, Chaturvarnya Maya Sishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasa, Guna and Karma. So Guna means quality and Karma means activity. So even if I know only that I am a soul, so that is I have got realization, but I have not understood my activities, what I should be doing as a soul. So then that time also I cannot go away from Maya because I am not actually soul realized. Actually, I am not soul realized. Soul realized means not only knowing oneself, but knowing one's duty also. So here Prabhupada says the same thing. So for Kshatriya also, he is a Kshatriya not because he is born in Kshatriya or he has taken some training from Guru, but after training he should work as a Kshatriya. So Guna and Karma, both should happen. Then it's called proper Kshatriya. In the similar way, Atma. Atma Guna is that he is a spirit soul, Brahman. And what is Karma? He should serve Lord. So both should happen, Guna and Karma. Then he is self-realized soul. And then he can get away from Maya. Academically, one can be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he is in bondage. Krishna consciousness helps one to get out of the bondage. So till the time one is not fully Krishna conscious, one should not give up one's duty because one is bound by Swabhava. And only a perfect Krishna conscious person can get rid of this Swabhava, not others. Okay. So here from here. Indrasya indriyasyarthe ragadvesho vivasthito tayorna vasam agachet hayasya paripantino.
There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization.
Yes, we have done good discussion last time on this. Attachment and aversion. So to control our mind and senses, Shastras, they give some regulative principle, how to regulate our attachments and aversion. Okay. Attachment means we want to do something, but that may not be good. So then Shastra say, okay, you are allowed only for this much, not for that. Like Prabhupada gives example, somebody wants to enjoy with opposite sex. So then Shastra says, okay, that tendency is there. So better get married. Better get married. So then this is a regulation of attachment. What is regulation of aversion? Aversion means one who does not like something in his life. So then Shastra says, no, better little bit you take, that will be good. Like sometimes people don't like karela, eating karela. So then parents they say, अरे थोड़ा तो खाओ. उसको हम क्या करते हैं, फ्राई करके दे देते हैं उसको खाने को, बच्चे को. Generally बच्चे को लाइक नहीं करता. So karela is again good for purifying the blood. It should not be taken in much, but it should be taken. So this is one thing. Or waking up early in the morning, then attending artis, attending classes. So these are the aversion side. Many times it comes. So then we have to make some schedule. How once again we can get rid of our aversion. So then Prabhupada says we should again not depend upon such rules also, thinking that I'll be freed from my attachment and aversions, everything, just by following the rules. Prabhupada says even on the royal road there can be accident. So basically one should understand any allowance for sense gratification is also dangerous. Any allowance also, like somebody has given gun with a license, but still he is in dangerous position. He can take the gun and shoot on anyone. That is possible. Yes. So there's one story, like one Brahmana was a very great ascetic, and then he was performing tapasya. So then you know that Lord Indra, he becomes fearful and insecure whenever somebody performs lot of tapasya. So then what he did, Lord Indra came with one sword, talwar, and then he said to Brahmana, actually I am going somewhere else, but I cannot carry this sword. Can you keep it with you? I will come and take from you. And then this Brahmana took that, and then he started seeing that it was a very nice sword, golden sword, अच्छा दिख रहा था एकदम, first class. And then he thought, what to be done? Let me try it. Then he took out the sword from the shield and then started ऐसे करने लगा. बोला अरे वाह मजा आ रहा है. And then after some time he started cutting the trees, and then everything was happening very majestically. Means बहुत अच्छे से हो रहा था, magic से हो रहा था. And then he started killing animals also. And like that he became entrapped. His all tapobal went down. Why? Because of this. Because even little allowance is given to him, and then he will misutilize it. So this is a tendency of living entity to misutilize these things actually. So one has to follow those rules and regulations unattached to them, because practice of sense gratification under regulation may also lead one to go astray, as much as there is always a chance of accident even on the royal road. Therefore we are able to see like for even for householders also, the next stage is vanaprastha. But people in general, what they think, that married life means whole life married only, पूरा लाइफ जीवन शादीशुदा ही रहना है. तो वो भी एक तरीके क्या अटैचमेंट हो गया, वो रूल से अटैच हो गया कि रूल मतलब ये दिया है मतलब इसको कंटिन्यू, उसके आगे भी रूल है. नेक्स्ट रूल इज टू बिकम डिटैच, बट दैट इज नॉट हैपनिंग. So again, the rules are given in the world to regulate our attachment and aversion, and we should follow those rules unattached to the rule itself. Like that. So that is the principle if we want to attain spiritual salvation. So Prabhupada writes that but any work in Krishna consciousness should not be given up from beginning till end. Any work means whatever rules are given in Krishna consciousness should be followed throughout, because it is for the Atma. It is not connected to body. Even like eating prasadam, then doing harinam, doing chanting, reading books, hearing katha. This is the rule which one should not give up at all. Just follow it throughout the life. No change. But other rules to regulate our lives of sense gratification, that has to be changed without depending upon the rule. क्या रूल मैं पालन करूँ, मेरे को बदलना नहीं है, नहीं बदलना पड़ेगा, जब जरूरत आएगा तो बदलना पड़ेगा. Like that. See, reception of the word indriyasya of the senses indicate that all the senses, the knowledge senses such as the ear is sense object sound, and the action senses such as voice and its sense object words, attraction and hatred, rag and dvesh, pleasure or discomfort to the individual are fixed firmly, not in an unsettled way. In all these sense object indrasya arthe, even if they are prescribed by scripture, such things as talking to saintly persons, serving them, or going to holy places becomes the object of hatred. seen as unfavorable or disagreeable to the individual. But even though living entity have tendency to follow these feelings of desire and hatred, the person desiring and the highest good should not fall under the control of desire and hatred, since they are obstacle on the path of. They are like the thieves standing in the front of the traveler on the road. So here some additional things are given, that like scripture provide some talking to saintly persons, serving them or going to holy places becomes the object of hatred, seen as unfavorable or disagreeable to the individual. Okay, there's something like, let us leave it, confused kar rahe ho. So we understood through Prabhupada's purport that what we can give up, what we should not give up. Now here it is mentioned like going to holy places. Can we give up? Talking to saintly person. Can we give up? Today we are talking, tomorrow we cannot talk. Or some people have feelings like that. I want to do that. I want to go to holy place. Like people are going to Prayagraj. Yes. So yes, Krishna conscious people, for them it is clearly mentioned the order of Guru is the highest thing. And these are all activities which we do, like going to holy places, bathing. These are basically the activities given by spiritual master, or these can be secondary. The primary activity which is given to us is Shravanam Kirtanam. That is the primary activity for all the followers of Gaudiya Vaishnava. Shravanam Kirtanam, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Mandanam. So, and in all this, Shravanam Kirtanam is the highest here. Yes, Navida Bhakti mein sabse highest kya hai? Shravanam Kirtanam. So therefore, during at the time of initiation, we have been told chant 16 rounds. So if we have got the seva in temple, in ashram, and you are doing that seva, then even Narottam Das Thakur says कि in Kali Yuga, even going to Dham is also time pass. He says that, and Prabhupada says that because people should go to Dham to meet some saintly person and hear from them, not simply bathing in the water. The tendency is there, bathing wala tendency. और कभी कभी ऐसा भी होता है टेंडेंसी, जैसे somewhere Bhagavatam class is there, so then they will keep Bhagavatam on their head and they will do all the celebration of Bhagavatam. They will go round and round and round, and lot of clapping will happen, and then they will keep Bhagavatam on the stage. They will keep Bhagavatam on the stage, and then they will go away. And who will hear Bhagavatam? No, we have done the function now. अब भागवतम स्पीकर बोलेगा, जो आके सुनेगा सुनने दो, ऐसा. और 7 days भागवतम. So these are some things which are not nityam bhagavata sevaya. These are cultural offshoot of the real bhagavata seva. So therefore that has to be given up. And what is mentioned in the Shastra, nityam bhagavad sevaya. Either serve pure devotee all the time, and also hear from pure devotee, the Bhagavatam. So this has to be continued, not stopped at all. श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणा परधर्मा स्व अनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावह. Yes.
It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duty, even though faulty, than another's duty perfectly. Distractions in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duty, for to follow another's path is dangerous.
So one should discharge his prescribed duty in full Krishna consciousness rather than those prescribed for others. Materially prescribed duties are duties enjoined according to the one's psychophysical condition under the spell of the modes of material nature. Spiritual duties are as ordered by the spiritual master for the transcendental service of Krishna. But whether material or spiritual, one should stick to his prescribed duties even up to death rather than imitate others' prescribed duty. Duties on the spiritual platform and the duties on material platform may be different, but the principle of following the authorized direction is always good for the performer. So it is very clearly mentioned, we can see here, one should try to follow one's prescribed duty till death. When one is under the spell of modes of material nature, one should follow the prescribed rules for his particular situation and should not imitate others. Like Brahmana, who is in mode of goodness, is a non-violent, where a Kshatriya is a violent. As such, for a Kshatriya, it is better to be vanquished following the rules of violence than to imitate a Brahmana who follows the principle of non-violence. Everyone has to cleanse his heart by the gradual process, not abruptly. However, when one transcends the modes of material nature and is fully situated in Krishna consciousness, he can perform anything and everything under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. In that complete stage of Krishna consciousness, the Kshatriya may act as a Brahmana may act as a Kshatriya. In a transcendental stage, the distinction of the material world do not apply. For example, Vishwamitra was originally a Kshatriya, but later he acted as a Brahmana, whereas Parshuram was a Brahmana, but he acted as a Kshatriya. Being transcendentally situated, they could do so, but as long as one is on material platform, one must perform his duties according to the modes of material nature. At the same time, he must have full sense of Krishna consciousness. See, here two things are mentioned. One has to discharge one's prescribed duty in full Krishna consciousness. Even you just see what is mentioned, in full Krishna consciousness one should discharge the duty. And then here it is said that one who is situated in Krishna consciousness, fully situated in Krishna consciousness, he can transcend also, he can change also. So it means one has a sense of full Krishna consciousness, but is not situated fully in Krishna consciousness, he should perform his prescribed duty. But one who is situated in that platform, not only having a sense of Krishna, but situated in the platform, he can exchange, he can do here and there, possible. So Prabhupada says classless society. So he said nowadays, so nowadays Prabhupada says that in modern times they want to make classless society. So he says it is not possible to make classless society. Why? Because according to the modes, everybody has a different nature. Mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. And they will be forced to act in that mode. And so because one has forgotten his own identity as a soul and his duty also is forgotten, so therefore he will be forced to act according to his modes. So there cannot be classless society on his material platform. One has to take up to Krishna consciousness, then it is possible to make a classless society. The Prabhupada says in our society all are there, Europeans, Americans, man, woman, and all dharmas, Islam, Christians, Jews, all can come and practice Krishna consciousness together. So he says that. So in regard to following Krishna consciousness, there is no rule. Man can follow, woman can follow, Christian can follow, Islam can follow, anyone can follow, chanting, hearing, dancing, all activities can be followed by everyone. So Prabhupada says that. But again, when we come back to our own duties, so then he mentions that yes, we should do our duties. And Prabhupada later also wanted that even Varnashram should be, Devi Varnashram should also be established among devotees for setting an example. Because a Vaishnava, he says, a Vaishnava cannot be called Kshatriya Vaishnava, Brahman Vaishnava, Shudra Vaishnava. No, Vaishnava means Vaishnava. He is beyond the modes. Beyond the modes. So in our society there is this confusion. We have been given the name Vaishnava, but we are still getting purified. We are still not fully situated on the platform of Vaishnava. But even though we may claim ourselves to be Vaishnava, Deva Prabhupada in the everyday chanting, the recitation of offenses against holy name, what is the last wordings? Anyone who claims himself to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against all these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prem. All the 10 offenses, one must carefully guard against all these 10 offenses. then he can claim himself to be a Vaishnava. So see what is the wording? Anyone who claims himself to be a Vaishnava. अगर तुम अपने को वैष्णव मानते हो, नहीं मान प्रभु जी हम हम्बल है, नहीं मानना मैं वैष्णव, then follow these things, everything. Yeah, there also we have to follow. But Prabhupada says कि anyone who claims himself to Vaishnava must guard against all these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prem. The Vaishnava can achieve that Krishna Prem, no one else. So the confusion is this, कि whether we should follow or not. So yes, we should follow. First thing is to set an example for others, for outsiders. At the same time, it is also required, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned in Chaitanya Shikshamritam, that whatever principles of Varnashram which are not against our devotional service should be followed. Like Brahmachari Ashram, it's also is a Varnashram. Grihastha Ashram, Varnashram. So then the rules of Brahmachari Ashram, Grihastha Ashram, Vanprastha Ashram has to be followed that much extent that it should support Krishna consciousness. Like that. Otherwise, if everything is left aside, so then it will be havoc, because we are not in that platform where we can forget our modes. We become captured by modes if we don't follow the prescribed duties. Yes. So this is also important. At the same time, sometimes spiritual master may give some very awkward activities, or it seems to be like against our nature. But at that time we should surrender and do that. So we can find in Krishna consciousness these both things are involved actually. And there is a misunderstanding of the nature, or you can say the values. Just see here, Prabhupada mentions the Kshatriya's value is to have a violence, proper violence, constructive violence. And a Brahmana, his nature is to be non-violent. But when a Brahmana teaches a Kshatriya that you should be non-violent, then that is not good. It means his duty, you are saying him to not do his duty. You are saying, or you are teaching him some other's duty. That is not good. Yes. But when it comes to Vaishnava, Vaishnava will always teach non-violence. To whom? He will teach that ultimately we have to be non-violent, but because you are Kshatriya, you have to do your duty. You also become violent, and Brahmana should become non-violent. So Vaishnava is not foolish person. But you know that when we become Vaishnava means beyond the modes, so then they practice Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishuna, Amanina Manadena. So that is non-violent fully, non-reactive at all. He is not reactive. Totally is on spiritual platform. He is only thinking that how I can please the Lord. So therefore, people should be given knowledge according to their nature, what they should be doing. So these two examples are given, Vishwamitra Muni and Parshuram. Both they acted against their nature because they were transcendently situated. Even sometimes Dronacharya also comes here. This we can read. One should boldly perform one's duty even though they may have some slight fault. This is better than performing others' duties even if those duties are executed well and are full of good qualities. The reason is given. Destruction in the course of performing one's duty is better. Performing one's duty is dangerous. Others' duty is dangerous. So this is a sloka. There are the 5 branches of irreligion, appropriately known as irreligion. A religious principle for which one is unfit, pretentious religion, analogical religion, and cheating religion. One who is aware of the real religious life must abandon these 5 as the irreligious. Actually, Prabhupada explains some very nice names he gives. This is there. Vidharma, Paradharma, Abhas, Upma, Chala, Adharma, Sakha, Panchema, Dharmogya, Adharmavatyajit. So these words are explained by Prabhupada. We're not going inside that. So basically these are dharmas which are not appropriate for that person, but he is posing himself that he is dharmic in this way. and that becomes irreligion. Like example can come, Prithu Maharaj was doing Aswamedh Yagya, and then Indra comes and it takes the form of a irreligious sadhu, means what you call Naga Baba, huh? Or some other kind of sadhu. So then the what is that? Vijataswa, the son of this Prithu Maharaj, when he saw that saintly person, and saintly person was opening the tie of the thread of the horse and then taking the horse away. At that time, he did not shoot arrow at him, or he did not ask, "Oh, where are you taking?" He was folding palm and like, "Okay, Guru Maharaj, Sadhu Maharaj, you are taking." And then the Prithu Maharaj was becoming angry. Actually, he is not taking any action. Only the saintly person is taking away the horse, the sacrificial horse. He should immediately stop him. So then he was taking the form of a sadhu, Indra, and doing adharma. But he was not that sadhu. So in this way, so one who is not of that caliber, or who is not of that really quality, but he has become a sadhu, or he is trying to spread dharma, so then that becomes chala dharma, like that. So you have said that we should give up proclivities of desire and hatred arising from our natures common to the animals and engage in dharma according to the scripture. This tendency should disappear with the purification of heart through following the duties of dharma. Dharmas of both fighting and non-violence are stated in the scripture. Because I cannot perform fighting devoid of desire and hatred, the dharma of non-violence with subsistence by the gathering surplus grains is superior to fighting for me. Who is saying? Arjuna is saying. So he is saying, I will collect some grains from the field, but I will not fight. So then that is adharma, irreligious activity. What is dharma? To fight. And he is saying, because I cannot perform fighting devoid of desire and hatred, I will take other dharma. So no, even though one is not able to perform his dharma in a proper way, one should still perform one's dharma. That is said here in this verse. Like a Brahmana, they used to do killing of animals for yagya. Yes. So even in the yagya where Brahmana is reading scripture, it has nothing to do with killing, but he has to be involved in that killing, because that yagya requires killing of animal, and then whether the mantra has been chanted properly, that will be confirmed if the animal is again coming back to life. So that's why the animals were killed, to test the success of the yagya. Yes. Now Brahmana may say that, oh no, I don't want to do such yagya. No, still he has to do. In the similar way, Kshatriya also has to kill many people. Then again he cannot become non-violent. So there are, like there is a fire, there is a smoke. In every duty, there are some disturbances which will be against our nature. वो रहेगा, लेकिन फिर भी आपको अपना धर्म करना पड़ेगा. जैसे प्रभुपाद सेकंड चैप्टर बोलते हैं, मातृ स्पर्शतु कौन्तेय, वो लेडीज हैव टू कुक इन द समर आल्सो. दे मे से, oh, I don't like to cook, better get from the restaurant. But no, you have to cook. That is the dharma. Again, for dharma, for a husband, he has to work. In any situation, he has to work. He cannot say, no, बहुत हो गया, अब काम बंद, अब कुछ नहीं होने वाला. No, he has to work. So then one has to again take bath in the winter season also and summer season also. Means summer season is okay, but winter season one has to take bath. So these are dharmas which one may not like to do, but one has to still follow, because that will purify the person. So these are the things. So Srila Prabhupada says in Calcutta, what they did, they called one Brahmana and उसको जनेऊ पहना दिया और उसको बोला तुम काली के मंदिर के पास बैठ जाओ. एंड देन दे रोट ऑन द काली टेम्पल कि इधर जो भी मांस मिल रहा है ये काली का प्रसाद है. एंड दिस ब्राह्मणा इज कटिंग दैट हेड ऑफ अ गोट, and then he's offering. So means offering is also bona fide, and then God is also bona fide, and then you come and collect the Kali Prasad. So many people started coming. So Prabhupada says, what a Brahmana has to do with cutting the necks of a goat? Brahman को क्यों बिठाया उधर काली प्रसाद बांटने के लिए? So this is called adharma, basically irreligion. There's nothing to relate with the Brahmana. But when Brahmana can be involved in that killing, when there is a yagya, satisfaction of Lord Vishnu, not here. एक एक को काट काट के वो ऑफर, ऐसे थोड़ी होता है. Animals are not cut for eating, and the person who has to eat, he has to cut. He can go and cut. Yes, Prabhu.
Probably this question is related to like this example which you're giving, na, of Brahmana, like he's cutting the head of animal. So probably like we see that there are, like recently Kumbh was there. So a lot of sadhus, they come from different like Himalayas and different places, and we see that many of them are like na smoking chillam, कोई पी रहा है, कोई smoking कर रहा है, कोई कुछ खा रहा है. तो is Brahmana always in mode of goodness? One is that. Secondly, कि ये जो अगर वैसा नहीं है, क्योंकि we read in Gita also that ना कि Brahmana qualities में mode of goodness. So who are these? How do we categorize these sadhus? Sadhu in mode of ignorance, sadhu in mode of passion, sadhu in mode of goodness, or like Brahmana, or like how it is?
See, sadhu, the name sadhu itself means
साधना कर रहा है जो.
he has given up the worldly formalities and taken up to the full surrender to Lord. He has given up worldly formalities. Sadhu means that. He just he abides with the principles of Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad Bhagavatam. Basically, the higher principles of life he follows. He does not worry about the. He's not in the varnashram in one sense. Basically, sadhu means he's fully detached person. He just follows. He tries to give soul paropkar to others, and they live in a simple hut. So that is a simple understanding of the sadhus. But in Krishna consciousness, we understand that Krishna or Prabhupada himself, the sadhu does not mean only living in the jungle. No, sadhus can also live in cities and they can do prachar. So we have a yukta vairagya principle, that how sadhus can live in cities also and they can do prachar. Now, when it comes to these sadhus, so worship of like Lord Shiva, so they try to imitate Lord Shiva by smoking ganja, and then chillam chillam, whatever is there. So then that is adharma actually. It is clearly mentioned in scripture. Mention किया है कि you cannot imitate Lord Shiva. Like I think some classes back we read that. कि like Krishna is imitating lifting Govardhan. So he is a Bhagwan. He can do that. In the similar way, Lord Shiva is also Bhagwan. He can also do that. But we cannot do that in the name of following him. So what we have to follow, it should be from scriptures. So there is no mention that one should do all such things and then become devotee of Lord Shiva. No. Sometimes people in 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita you'll read these are something called lok swabhav. People just अपने आप उनके मन में आता है कि हमें ये करना चाहिए, भगवान शिव कर रहे हैं ना. जैसे कई इनको आता है ना सहजिया. If you go to Sahajiya and you ask how to do Krishna Bhakti, so then they will say we wear some sari. We'll wear some sari, we'll become gopis and we'll start dance like peacock. So if you learn bhakti from them, they are not the right propagator of bhakti dharma because they are doing in sentimental and bodily platform. In the similar to these sadhus, they are misguided. So they think that by doing all such things, we will become transcendental to the world. Means हम लोग कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. तो गलत है actually. That is not correct. Sadhu should not do that.
So for sadhana, one has to be like coming to mode of goodness at least.
Yes.
But results we see that they get results. Like you are also from Prayag. If we see Kashi जो विद्यापीठ है हमारा North India में, all the कर्मकांडी ब्राह्मण they go to study to Kashi. First thing they are taught is to eat तंबाकू.
Okay.
So, but वो results उनके like they do the worship, they get the results and अभी नागा साधुस हैं या अघोरी हैं, उनके पास भी powers आ रहे हैं ना, even though they are not doing it rightly. So how do we like understand that part?
Powers again, see, material powers can come. Somebody who is a CEO of an office or a company, big company, he also has a power, but he's also eating tambaku, or he also going with 2-3 partners. He also has a power of fame, name. So material power का कुछ वो नहीं है. Material power किसी को भी आ सकता है. थोड़ा बहुत इधर उधर कर लो, but spiritual power means being situated on the transcendental platform is not so easy actually.
That will not come. Progress can come.
And again, if somebody is again situated on transcendental platform, and even if you find him doing such things, so then like Vansi Das Babaji Maharaj, sometimes you may find even in great Vaishnavas,
Gurdev
they
Vedanti also.
we cannot imitate them also. eh? So now surely they don't start doing some tambako, ये सब नहीं करते, but they may do some normal activity in a very different way. Like I hear that even the grandfather of Bhakti Thakur, he used to make pakoda of mirchi and eat at 12 midnight. 12 बजे पकौड़ा खाते थे midnight. अब वो कैसे, and he was quite great yogi actually. How many of us can do? 12 बजे पकौड़ा खाने के लिए उठना है क्या? ऐसा. So even this Vansidas Babaji Maharaj, he used to eat with the dogs. मतलब वो क्या है, वो बोलते थे dogs they are also Vrindavan Vasis. They are also Vrindavan Vasis. So used to call them for eating also. So वो dog खाते थे. तो वो लोग कर सकते हैं, बहुत बड़े हो. But they are not going to do some ये गांजा पीने वाला, ये सब अलग ही चीज है. This is too much. Again, Hare Krishna, mute yourself. Again, we never see in a proper Vaishnava Sampradaya somebody is Hare Krishna. We don't see that somebody is doing some Vyavichar. We don't see that. Vyavichar we never see. Those who were trying to do Vyavichar, our Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, we know that story when he went to all the Babajis, when his Guru Maharaj had left body. So then that time they were trying to take his body and say that this Gaur Krishnas Babaji Maharaj is from our mutt and we will take his body. And then other sadhu will say, we will take his body. No, we are his people. No, we are his people. Then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj came and said, how many of you have not touched a woman since 1 month? So most of them raised put their head down. Then he said, 1 week. Then 1 day. Like that he came and he found that he was so much pure. Everybody was somehow polluted. So then he said, how can you take his body? He's so pure, Paramhansa, and you are enjoying with a woman and still calling yourself sadhu. How is it possible? So like that, he segregated sadhu and asadhu. So we never find in a great Vaishnava circle that they are involved in such a debauchery activity or some drinking wine, eating meat. But they might be doing some other activities in a very transcendental way. That we may find. Okay, so now this section which is starting, it is talking about. So when
Probably one more before the next section. Regarding the Varna, like duties we were saying. So Grastha, like ashram duties you understand. So ashram duties you understand. Even the duties of a human being also you understand. But when it comes to Varna, like for practical implementation, like many of us in today's world we don't know what is actual Varna. So how do we apply that in our practical lives? That doing our duties properly rather than doing someone else's duty perfectly. So like doing Varna's duty imperfectly, then doing someone else's duty imperfectly. So how do we apply that? Because we don't know only, at least for me, like education went like that. We don't know only that what is my nature and what is my Varna. So how do we apply that?
a sound is coming. Anish Datarpu, you can make me co-host because then I can mute some devotees if they are doing. So, okay. So, how to know one's Varna? It is a very difficult question, first of all. Because everybody is born like that only, without Varna. Or that Varna was there only for namesake. There was no training after birth. And even though somebody has got training, There is no culture in outside world which can support our activity according to our varna. So there are so many stages of demolish. Many stages demolish has already happened. So basically, whatever is remaining, that somebody is born in some certain kula and varna, so they should follow, as well as also follow Krishna consciousness. This can be said. As far as we have very small lives, ज़्यादा जीवन बचता नहीं है अभी जीने को, तो ऑलरेडी इतना प्रॉब्लम है, so many problems are there, and nowadays people have also set in city environment, so they don't like to go to village and do some agriculture job, all these things. They don't want to do that. Like when corona came, then everybody came to online platform. Before that nobody was knowing online. Even Dadi ji did not know what is this mobile. Now Dadi ji can also put the Zoom meeting and then start talking to her son. वो भी कर सकते हैं आजकल, बिकॉज ऑनलाइन इतना फेमस हो गया. सो कल जब हमारे सबके पेट पे जब प्रॉब्लम आएगा ना खाने को, सब लोग भागेंगे खेत में. ऑल विल रन. ओके, नाउ IT इज नॉट गिविंग मनी, इंडस्ट्रीज आर नाउ पुट ऑफ, कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, खाने को ही नहीं है आदमी, तो सिटी में क्यों रहेगा? सिटी में इसलिए रह रहे हैं क्योंकि हमें पास खाने को है. कल को पेट्रोलियम बंद, मतलब खाना आएगा ही नहीं गाँव से, और सिटी में कहाँ उगाओगे? सब बंद हो जाएगा. पानी आपके फ्लैट तक आएगा नहीं, सब पेट्रोलियम से आ रहा है. पेट्रोलियम से बिजली बन रहा है, इसलिए सब कुछ आ रहा है. So therefore now necessity is not felt very direly, so we are living in city comfortably, but this will not be natural situation tomorrow. It will change. Actually ये चेंज होने वाला है. तब हम सभी को समझ में आएगा कि हमको सिंपल लिविंग चालू करना है. Unless you begin simple living, you cannot know your varna. This is very important, because simple living मतलब peaceful living. तो आप सोचते हो कि हाँ मैं यही करने के लिए लायक हूँ. When we are in agitated mode all the time, I need this, I need that, all the time we are fulfilling the needs of the world. ये चल रहा है संसार में, मुझे ऐसा बनना है, तो हम बनने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. हम बने हैं जैसा, उसको जानने की कोशिश नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम दूसरा बनने की तैयारी कर रहे हैं. Like nowadays it's news that from 26 to 40-year-old boys, they are not in that. 26 to 26 से 40 साल में जो भी लड़के हैं, उसमें 40% या 42% बच्चे शादी नहीं करना चाहते. They don't want to get married. In India, this is a statistics. 42% grown-up adults between 26 to 40 age, they don't want to marry. So then what will happen? This is the situation changing in the world. So marriage is one of the sanskara. So now the people, there is a problem of living now. अभी वर्ण तो ऊपर चला गया. वर्ण तो तब आता है जब एक लिविंग स्टाइल सीख लो पहले थोड़ा. पहले क्या खाना है, किसके साथ जीना है, क्या करना है. तो अभी तो वो भी नहीं, खाने का अभी लिविंग पे ही क्वेश्चन आ रहा है, कैसे जीना है. लोग एकदम जानवर बनने वाले कुछ समय के बाद. Therefore these varna question are too high again, कि मेरे को कैसे पीसफुल अपना वर्क करना चाहिए. अभी तो लोग जैसे तैसे काम करके पैसा कमा रहे हैं, जैसे तैसे कर रहे हैं. somehow work is done, somehow education is done. हर जगह अरे बाबा हो गया एजुकेशन, अच्छा हुआ, पास हो गया मैं, अरे बाबा जॉब हो गया आज का, चलो बॉस से छुटकारा मिल गया. ऐसा चल रहा है. So first, unless we become peaceful in our life, human life cannot be practiced actually properly. Peaceful होना बहुत जरूरी है. जहाँ पीस है ना, वहाँ पे धर्म को फॉलो किया जा सकता है. धर्म कैन ओनली बी एस्टैब्लिश्ड इन मोड ऑफ गुडनेस. वाई इन कलियुग धर्म इज डिक्रीजिंग? बिकॉज ऑफ मोड ऑफ पैशन एंड इग्नोरेंस. मोड ऑफ पैशन इग्नोरेंस में आप धर्म को पालन नहीं कर पाओगे, उसके लिए वातावरण ही नहीं है वो. भले क्षत्रिय मोड ऑफ पैशन में होता, बट फिर भी द ओवरऑल सिविलाइजेशन इज इन मोड ऑफ गुडनेस, सिंपल लिविंग. So that is why even if somebody said you follow Kshatriya dharma, what Kshatriya dharma you will follow? Or somebody Brahman dharma, what Brahman dharma you will follow? Some parts, some remaining we can follow. Reading scriptures or preaching scriptures. So these are all Krishna conscious things. And then doing management, that is like Kshatriya kind of thing. But this is like not complete. It's not complete. It's something. So therefore, it's a duty of Vaishnavas to establish, at least for the doing paropkar to the people. It is very, very important. It should be done. 1 minute. Okay. Let us go ahead. Arjuna vacha athakena prayoktoyam papam charati purusah anichannapi varsneya baladiva niyojita. Yes, Prabhu.
Arjuna said, O descendant of Rishni, by what is one impelled to the sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by the force?
So this section will be talking about the greatest enemy, the lust. Lust, the greatest enemy. One full section has been given for the discussion for this lust. Why not anger? Why not greed? Because lust is the beginning of these both, anger and greed. So lust is that beginning. We read in second chapter. What is that? Dhyayato vishyan pumsa sangaste supajayate sangat sanjayate kama. So by contemplation on sense object, attachment develops for the sense object, and then that attachment further transfers into lust. It transforms into lust. So Arjuna has a question. Why this question again is an abrupt question? अपने आप आ गया क्या? Question is basically everybody has been given some prescribed duty to do. What is that which forces one from inside to do some pap? What is that? Is it a Paramatma? No, it's not a Paramatma, it's a lust. It's a lust. So Krishna himself says, I am the regulated lust. Like dharma aviruddho kamo asmi bharatar sabha. Later chapters Krishna says, I am a regulated sex life. So he says, I am that lust which is regulated. Again he says, balam balvatam chaham. I am the strength in a man which is not used for the aggression. Aggression के लिए यूज नहीं, प्रोटेक्शन के लिए यूज करो स्ट्रेंथ को, तो then that is Krishna. So Krishna in further chapter mentions actually whenever you use these objects in the right way, that is me, and whenever you don't use it in the right way, that is lust. So Krishna separates himself from this. It means Krishna says, I am the Vedas. I have mentioned in the Vedas how to regulate lust. If you act in that way, then that is sanctioned by me. If you don't act, then that is lust, and then you fight with the lust. That is your problem. So Arjuna is asking, Athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha. By what impetus, by what force one commits sinful activity? Anichan, he does not want, but still he commits. Valadiva niyojita, like somebody is forcing him to commit sinful activity. Yeah, that is that's why in modern times, because if there is no regulation in life of humans, this lust is already there, and this lust will come in many forms. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that, and so that will commit. The human society will be doing sinful activities, innumerable sinful activities. So Prabhupada mentions what is this lust actually. So every living entity is a part and parcel of Lord. He is spiritual by nature. He is not subject to the sins of material world, but when he is in contact of material nature, he acts in many sinful ways without hesitation, and sometimes even against his will. As such, Arjuna questions to Krishna is very sanguine as the perverted nature of the living entity. Although the living entity sometimes does not want to act in sin, he is still forced to act. Sinful actions are not, however, impelled by super soul, but they are due to another cause. So what is that cause? So now Krishna will answer. Okay, somebody else can read. Some Mataji who is there. Prasanna Sita Devidasi Mataji is there. Yes. Yes, you can read. So Sri Bhagavan Vacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajoguna Samudbhava Mahasano Mahapapma Vidya Enam Iha Vairinam.
Godhead said. It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all devouring sinful enemy of this world.
Okay. So what is that? Again, lust. And how it is born? It is born with the mode of contact. If a living entity is contacting with the mode of passion, then it is lust is born. How originally it is coming? It is the love of God. So living entity is passionate for Krishna, but now he is passionate for material bodies, material world, the objects of this world. He is passionate for it. So the same love has transformed into lust. So basically, again, how it will again be reconverted? We have to do that. The lust has to be again finished by reawakening our love. Reawakening of our love, then lust will be finished. So to the extent we are mad for Krishna, to that much extent the lust will not trouble actually. This is important. Otherwise, there can be rules and regulations followed, as Krishna mentions, Kurmo Angani Sarvasaha in 2nd chapter. How self-realized soul control his senses like a turtle. So, but next shloka I said that Raso Arjam Raso Apyasyat Param Dishtva Nivartate. Raso Varjam. What is that? Vidya. What is the shloka? विषयाविनियमर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिना रसो वर्जम रसोऽप्यस्य परम दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते विषयाविनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य nirahara means somebody has given up the ahar for his senses. He is not enjoying sense objects, but rasa varjam rasoapyasya, रस को छोड़ने का रस अभी छूटा नहीं है, रस है उसके अंदर enjoyment का tendency है. And why? Because param drishtva nivartate. He has not experienced the spiritual rasa, so therefore the material rasa is still there in his heart. And at some times, he may again go for material rasa. Even the vipaschita, the jnani person can also go. So therefore, somebody situated in knowledge does not mean that he has given up all desire for sense gratification. But the real definition of situated in knowledge means this only, that he should have given up all. It means he is not fully knowledgeable. Okay. One who is fully knowledgeable, he becomes fully detached. And one who becomes fully detached, he also becomes fully attached to Krishna. So basically these whole things happen like that. So it means the simple knowledge will not protect a person from getting trapped to lust. He can protect from the small obstacles, but then a big obstacle comes, like we find big munis we can find, and Prabhupada gives examples of Lord Shiva and Haridas Thakur he gives. So how Haridas Thakur was not falling prey, because he was param dishtva nivartate, he was experiencing the higher spiritual rasa. Because we think we are this body and senses belong to this body, and so when we think we are this body, so our thinking is that by enjoying this body I am enjoying. So we think like that, and this is not only thinking, this is our ego. ये हमारा identity में भरा हुआ है, identity में यही है identity. I am this body, and if I enjoy this body, so I will be happy. So then whenever we see any sense object or feel any sense object, so then we think by getting that object I will be happy. Simple. So it means it's a bodily consciousness. It's a bodily consciousness. So this world is a world of dresses, experiences and hopes. ये वर्ल्ड किसका है? ड्रेस का वर्ल्ड है. ये सभी ड्रेस है ना. हमने क्या पढ़ा है? वासाम च जीर्णानि वथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथापि जीर्णानि विहाय तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णान्ये अन्यानि सम्याति नवानि देहि वासाम च जीर्णानि यथा विहाय. So this body is a dress. So this world is a world of dresses. This dress is not a personality, but we think that this dress itself is a personality. No, this is not a personality. This is simply a dress. Personality is Atma. Attraction for Atma is love, attraction for this body is lust. So this world is a world of dresses and experiences, perverted experience. Oh, in this way I'll be happy. Oh, this should be there with me. And hopes, many hopes. So one who has experience, he also have hopes of enjoyment, hopes of some success, like that. So, but we should understand, we are personal. We are people having emotions. We are having real experiences and hopes, but not in this world as a body. So therefore everything has been become perverted. सब कुछ pervert हो चुका है because हम अपने को शरीर मानते हैं बस. यहीं पे प्रॉब्लम है. The whole problem is in beginning of understanding, bodily conception. यहीं पे प्रॉब्लम चालू होता है. And this bodily conception will not go away until we'll get Krishna conscious conception, that we belong to Krishna, Krishna is ours, and we please Krishna, we serve Krishna, we love Krishna, and we love Krishna more than ourselves, like that. So in that love one forgets one identity. Like this hand does not think much about itself, but it thinks much about the bodily work, what I have to do for the body. It is not much worried about its maintenance or you can say protection, because this hand knows that everything will be taken care by the brain. Whenever problem comes, the brain will help me. So in the similar way, living entity, when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, he understands that Krishna will take care of me. I have to simply serve him. So that is the consciousness. And in this material world, what is the consciousness? Because I am the body, so everything I have to do for the body. Same, we have replaced Krishna with the body in this world. We have replaced Krishna with the body. So whatever we used to do for Krishna, we used to do for the body now. Body means including our mind, senses, everything. So we are thinking by sacrificing everything for body, mind, ego, I'll be happy. Just remove this and keep Krishna. Same thinking, by sacrificing my everything for Krishna, I'll be happy. So basically living entity has the same function. उसको दूसरों को ही सेटिस्फाई करके सुख मिलता है. यहाँ पे भी वैसा ही हो रहा है. हम अपने को थोड़ी सेटिस्फाई कर रहे हैं, हम तो शरीर को सेटिस्फाई कर रहे हैं, तो हम सोच रहे हैं हम सुखी रहेंगे. वहाँ पे वैसे ही है, हम कृष्ण को सेटिस्फाई करें, हम सोचेंगे हम सुखी है. So therefore there is no, in one sense living entity is not selfish, because he anyway serving somebody. Right now we are serving body or Maya, there we will serve Krishna. So there is no change in his quality. He is a living entity only. He will never change. But because he is serving not Krishna, something else, or something made by Krishna, this material world, other things. So therefore, if we serve Krishna indirectly, so much suffering will come. Just see, indirect service to Krishna means so much suffering. And when direct is there, so much happiness. So this much difference it can make. Yes, Prabhu.
I have a question here in this shloka. So Krishna has mentioned, Krishna said that it is coming from lust, and lust is coming from passion. So we do so many things to avoid this tamoguna, like we give up onion, garlic, and other things also, like we wake up early morning, take bath. But how do we get rid of this passion?
तदा रजस्तमो भावा ज्ञान कामलोभादयश्चे चेत ऐतरनाविद्धं स्तं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति. To avoid passion, one has to come to mode of goodness, and the way is to, Srimad Bhagavatam says, you have to hear Bhagavatam. And how to attain the affinity for hearing Bhagavatam? You have to serve saintly people. So then you will get affinity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam more and more, the ignorance which is causing us to understand that I am this body, I am of this world, will be vanquished. And then you will rise to the mode of goodness. Tada rajas tamo bhava. This comes before this shloka comes nityam bhagavata sevaya. And then the next shloka is tada rajas tamo bhava. By doing nityam bhagavata sevaya, what will happen? भक्ति भवती नैष्टिकी, नैष्टिक भक्ति हो जाएगी. जब नैष्टिक भक्ति हो जाएगा तब ये शारीरिक चेतना के कारण ही हो रहा है सब कुछ. This all is because of the bodily consciousness. We are attached to the modes because of bodily consciousness. So the more we will be freed from this ignorance of bodily consciousness, this modes attachment will also finish away. ऐसा होगा. Actually हम लोग पकड़ के बैठे माया को, क्योंकि हमारा कॉन्शियसनेस डल है. अगर हम हमेशा सरचार्ज रहेंगे स्पिरिचुअल कॉन्शियसनेस में, we can see ourselves. Whenever some sense object comes in front of us, we only desire to enjoy. There is an option in our mind, you want or not. So we say, no, I still can enjoy. It means we are still dull. फिर भी डल ही हैं हम, मतलब अभी नॉलेज ठीक से अवेकन नहीं हुआ है, अभी फल पका नहीं है, कच्चा है फल, मतलब उसका टेस्ट नहीं आएगा. तो नॉलेज का टेस्ट आपको नहीं आ रहा है, तो अभी ज्ञान पका नहीं है हमारा, तो वी आर नॉट एबल टू relish दैट नॉलेज एंड नहीं, अभी इंजॉय करते बाद में सीखेंगे. सो वी आर नॉट टेस्टिंग द ripened fruit of knowledge. So therefore it requires some time, some practice, more and more. Therefore it is mentioned gradually. Prabhupada mentioned earlier, it's gradually. So one has to do one sadhana and become serious in one's life. So that is why unless this ignorance is finished now, एक बार अज्ञान खत्म हो गया तो सब ही खत्म हो जाएगा. अज्ञान यही है कि हम इस संसार के हैं and we have a lot of opportunity to enjoy in this world separate from Krishna. We are this body. So this ignorance is only capturing us into modes. Modes इसीलिए तो पकड़ के बैठे हमको, या हम उनको पकड़ के बैठे, क्योंकि हमें इंजॉयमेंट के लिए शरीर चाहिए, इंजॉयमेंट के लिए थॉट प्रोसेस चाहिए, तो वो सब मोड्स ही देने वाले हैं. सारा फैसिलिटी मोड्स का ही है, बॉडी मोड्स का है, थॉट प्रोसेस भी मोड्स ही दे रहे हैं, because we are associating with that mode, and so we get the thought process. But we are the soul. So when we awaken our real intelligence and those thoughts will also come, then we can immediately throw it away, like Yamunacharya. He was getting such thoughts from the modes of passion because he is associated with those kind of activities previously. Those thoughts were coming, but because he was situated in full Krishna consciousness, he was able to throw away those thoughts. I don't need, go away. So modes will always trouble us, but because we are highly Krishna conscious, or we are conscious of our own self, so we can get rid of such thoughts or the modes. Yes. So now here mention, when living entity comes in contact with the material creation, his love for Krishna is transformed into lust in association of mode of passion. In other words, the sense of love of God becomes transformed into lust as the milk in contact with the sour tamarind is transformed into yogurt. Again, when lust is unsatisfied, it turns into breath. Breath is transformed into illusion. Illusion continues to material existence. Same wala. क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहा, सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमा, स्मृति ब्रह्मसात् बुद्धि नासो, बुद्धि नासात् प्रणश्यति. So one ultimately falls to material existence. So by क्रोध, what happens? Illusion is created. क्रोध से इल्यूजन क्यों आता है? जब आदमी गुस्सा होता है ना, तो उसको ज्ञान भूल जाता है वो. When he becomes angry, he forgets his knowledge. And then he thinks anything you do, that will be good. Because the angry person ना, what he thinks, कुछ भी करूँगा ना वो ठीक ही है, क्योंकि मैं सही, I have become angry for right reason, so whatever I will do further after becoming angry will also be right. बट इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है? एंगर होने से पहले थोड़ा ज्ञान था उसको, एंगर होने के बाद ज्ञान चला गया तो वो कुछ भी उठाएगा, पत्थर उठाएगा, लकड़ी उठाएगा और फोड़ देगा किसी का सर, बोलेगा राइट अभी अच्छा किया मैंने. बट उसने गलती क्या किया? एंगर होने से पहले उसको थोड़ा दिमाग था, उसके बाद चला गया दिमाग. इसलिए जो भी गुस्सा होता है उसको पहले पानी पिलाना चाहिए, ताकि गुस्सा शांत हो जाए. नहीं तो गुस्से में कुछ भी काम करेगा, गड़बड़ करेगा. आई वॉज टेलिंग अर्लियर ना, बच्चे जब गुस्सा होते हैं तो बहुत कुछ बोलते हैं, तो उनको चुपचाप बिठा के पानी, रोने लगते हैं बच्चे, उनको फिर पानी पिलाना चाहिए. पी लो पानी पियो, इमीडिएटली देयर गुस्सा विल शांत हो जाए गुस्सा, ऐसा. ओके. So wrath is manifestation of mode of ignorance. So now mode of passion went to mode of ignorance. So therefore knowledge is gone. Those modes exhibit themselves as a wrath and other corollaries. If therefore the mode of passion, instead of being degraded into mode of ignorance, is elevated to mode of goodness by the prescribed method of living and acting, then one can be saved from degradation of wrath by spiritual. One can be saved from the degradation of wrath by spiritual attachment. It means it's our responsibility to uplift ourselves from passion to goodness. How? It is mentioned by prescribed method of living and acting. So we are following 4 regulative principles. This is mode of goodness. Chanting 16 round, waking up early in the morning, this is mode of goodness. So if you follow mode of goodness habits, then your passionate habits and lifestyle will change. like see how we dress, that is also so important. How we dress today. Okay, anyway, it should see today nobody is a woman in the, I'm not talking about devotees, or maybe for some devotees also, nobody is woman at home, everybody is dressing as a man only. सब लोग मैन का कपड़ा पहनते हैं, nobody is woman at home. And then we say our children are not listening to, so then children will find where is the mother. My mother is also papa only. Mother also looking like papa only. It's a big question actually. हर एक चीज छोटे छोटे से चालू होता है. अगर बच्चे को भी माँ पिता ही दिखता है तो फिर वो कैसे माँ में प्रेम पाएगा? तो ये बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन है, इवन फॉर डिवोटीज आल्सो मेनी टाइम्स. आउटसाइडर्स तो वो तो पूरा मैन ही है. So therefore, here is mentioned the method of living, prescribed method of living. If we live in a passionate way, just to satisfy the modern culture, contemporary culture, so then we are degrading ourselves actually. And even not what to speak of women, for man also, it's not said that a man can wear anything, कुछ भी पहन के आएगा वो. क्या उसके पास सात्विक ड्रेस नहीं है पहनने के लिए क्या? तो उसके पास भी है सात्विक ड्रेस, वो क्यों नहीं पहन रहा है? उसको भी बाहर दिखाना है. See, some things are okay, we understand outside way, and nobody is forcing outside also to wear in such a way. India is still a place where it's a place of a saintly people, Brahminical culture has to be practiced. It's not that so much force is there that no, you should dress in this way or that way. Who is forcing too much? आजकल सब लोग इंडिपेंडेंट है. पहले वो चलता था, अभी उतना नहीं है. अभी कोई पहन के भी गया तो कौन बोलने वाला है उसको? बोलेंगे नया नया फैसिलिटी है, नया कल्चर आ गया है. अगर आजकल कोई ट्रेडिशनल वे में पहन के जाएगा तो पीपल विल अंडरस्टैंड इट्स अ न्यू कल्चर, दे विल नॉट माइंड इट. सो दिस इज बेनिफिट, one thing. But again, the culture has to be followed. We don't say that exactly everything has to be followed, but at least certain parts should be maintained actually. Certain parts of culture should be maintained. How one should dress, how one should speak, how one should live. Otherwise, these are simply talks. केवल बातें चलेंगी बस. So here it's mentioned one has to elevate oneself to a mode of goodness, living and acting. Then it is possible that this passion will not degrade to ignorance, and then it will become to wrath. So therefore, when it happens, wrath means झगड़ा, anger, जहाँ पे झगड़ा बहुत होता है, तो वहाँ पे देखो, any relationship can only exist when there is surrender of one ego. जब एक ईगो सरेंडर करता है तभी रिलेशनशिप चलता है. दोनों ईगो खड़े हो गए ना तो वहाँ पे तलवार ही चलेगी बस, या तो मुंह से नहीं तो हाथ से तलवार चलने वाली. तो देयरफॉर एक जाने को समझना है कि मेरे को हम्बल रहना है, और कभी कभी ये हम्बल रहता है, कभी ये हम्बल, दोनों को हम्बल एक ऐसे ऐसे रहना है. कोई हीरो नहीं है वहाँ पे, बिकॉज रिलेशनशिप में कोई हीरो नहीं रहता है, ऊपर नीचे चलता रहता है. कोलैबोरेशन, कॉपरेशन. एट द सेम टाइम देयर हैज टू बी अंडरस्टैंडिंग हु इज द सुपीरियर, दैट इज ऑल्सो देयर. सतोवरा, द रिलेशनशिप मीन्स सतोवरा, वन शुड बी सुपीरियर टू अपलिफ्ट द अदर पर्सन. So this is the thing actually. The principle says, therefore in our Devahuti section we read in Bhagavatam all such the Vishrambhena Atma Sochena, all such rules, regulations of good relationship. So here it's mentioned that this lust should not degrade to anger by cultivating spiritual attachment and by following the prescribed livings of methods of living and acting. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expended himself into many for his ever increasing spiritual bliss. The living entities are part and parcel of spiritual bliss. They also have partial independence, but by the misuse of their independence, when the service attitude is transformed into the propensity for sense enjoyment, they come under the sway of lust. What is the sway of lust? This is that lust. We have been given independence. What is that independence? That you can decide whom you want to serve. You want to serve your body, senses, then it is again selfish. And when you want to serve Krishna, that is love. The material creation is created by the Lord to give facility to the conditioned soul to fulfill these lustful propensities, and when completely baffled by prolonged lustful activities, the living entity began to inquire about his real position. So this is the greatest truth in the life actually. Everybody is after this lustful propensity, fulfilling. Lust, in general sense, lust means to lord it over material nature, to have a proprietorship, to have enjoyership, to have controllership on material nature. Now, material nature has given this body, so therefore, to control body, control thought process, control somebody's mind, their thinking. I mean, so many ways. So, lust means to basically this propensity to lord it over, becoming the lord, Purusha. So desires are like the whirlpool. You have seen the whirlpool in the ocean many times, that becomes the waves like this. And if some ship comes in this whirlpool ना, the ship actually forgets the way to go. वो जो गोल गोल घूमता ही रहता है और लास्ट में क्या है, वो स्पाइरल में जो है घीव अंदर चला जाता है. तो if we are caught in this whirlpool of desires ना, we forget how our lives are going, and ultimately will end, finish. And then we'll understand that during the end of our life, अरे मैंने कुछ किया नहीं लाइफ में. क्यों? क्योंकि हमको कौन घुमा रहा था? डिजायर्स घुमा रहे थे. पूरा लाइफ डिजायर्स ही घुमाते, हमने कभी घुमा ही नहीं है. But if somebody lives a purposeful life of sacrifice for the Lord, whatever little amount of time or little span of life he has done, that remains a good asset for him throughout his whole life. क्योंकि उसमें वो अपने डिजायर्स को मार के भगवान की सेवा, जो यहाँ पे लिखा है ना, सर्विस एटीट्यूड टू भगवान, जो उसका खुद का वेल्थ है, द रियल वेल्थ ऑफ ऑल ऑफ अस इज लव ऑफ गॉड. सो if somebody enjoys the real wealth, sacrificing his tendencies to enjoy this world, so that real wealth gives him real value at the end of his life, because he has not gone in the whirlpool of the desires, the finish of his life ultimately. This is very important actually. Desires are also like a driving lanes in our life. Driving lanes, you see that on the highway. So in the highway of our life there are many lanes. But in the practical world, there are U-turns in the roads where you can come back to the right way. But in the life, there are no U-turn. If you follow certain lane of a desire, then it goes ahead, और फिर पता लगता है अरे मैंने क्या किया, वापस तो नहीं आ सकता, because time एक बार निकल गया तो गया. Anyway, but Krishna consciousness can be taken at any time. But still, it is so important that one should not be carried away by the desires or unregulated, these lustful desires. धूमेना आव्रियते वह्नि यथा अदृशो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भस् तथा तेनेदमावृतम्.
Continue to read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, continue.
Okay. As fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust.
Okay. So these are some examples given here. So see, fires covered by smoke, Prabhupada says, is a human life. The Krishna consciousness is a fire and smoke is his covering. But still, we can match up. We can match up that how a soul must be. सोल क्या सेवा करता होगा भगवान का कथा सुनता होगा, भगवान की सेवा करता, तो कुछ तो समझ है. जैसे लाइक पीपल गो टू टेम्पल एंड देन कम टू नो आई हैव टू जस्ट डू सराउंडिंग, प्रदक्षिणा करना है भगवान को, आरती करना है. Many things are already known, or just by seeing people will learn. It means the fire of Krishna consciousness is there, but it is still covered over. We have not completely come to our original state. So the example is given when lust is like a fire and it is a lust is like a smoke covering. Smoke is covering the fire. So three analogies are given here. How the lust is the degree of lust. So the lowest degree is this fire covered by the smoke. So whenever you see smoke, you can immediately come to know there is a fire. पता लग जाता है कि भाई इधर fire है क्योंकि smoke आ रहा है. ठीक है. When you see a mirror covered by dust, ये कुछ ज़्यादा ही कवरिंग हो. मतलब मिरर को अगर डस्ट से कवर किया तो शकल ही नहीं दिखेगा आपको. मिरर भी दिखेगा कि नहीं पता नहीं. मिरर है कि नहीं, यू कैनॉट नो. This is second degree of covering. So this is called animals. When animals are covered in their consciousness, so then they are compared like a mirror covered by lust, mirror covered by dust. So it means animals cannot have God consciousness. Therefore Prabhupada says only in human birth one can know about God, not animals, because उनके अंदर इतना लस्ट भरा हुआ है, डिजायर टू एंजॉय इतना ज़्यादा है, वो समझ ही नहीं पाएगा. उसको बस 4 चीज़ चाहिए: आहार, निद्रा, भय, मैथुन. बस यही चीज़ दे दो, उसमें वो सेटिस्फाइड है. उसे कुछ नहीं चाहिए, भगवान के बारे में सुनने को भी नहीं चाहिए, कुछ नहीं चाहिए, बिकॉज हिज लस्ट इज टू मच. तो देयरफॉर गॉड हैज समहाउ कंट्रोल्ड हिम इन एनिमल बॉडी. ठीक है, तू एंजॉय कर बाबा, तो ये खा, भर भर के खा, गंदी चीज कर, जो भी करना भर भर के कर, चल कर, बिकॉज ही वॉन्ट्स टू एंजॉय, डिजायर टू एंजॉय. But for a human, regulation has been given because his lust is controlled already, because he's come to human platform. So then there is still the regulation of marriage, there's still the regulation of eating, the regulation of so many festivals, celebration, cultures are there. How to dress, how to talk, all these are what? If I am angry, I should not talk anyway. So then if anyway means again the lust is coming in form of anger. So then there's some culture of speech, etiquette of speech, etiquette of worshipping people, our seniors, talking to them. These are there. These are basically to regulate our animalistic propensity. That is basically lust only. So Krishna is saying in human form it is lowest, in animal form it is more, and in the most it's in the trees, पेड़. अब ट्री तो दिखता ही नहीं है कि उसमें लस्ट है, अरे भर भर के पड़ा हुआ है उसमें इतना लस्ट है कि उसको दे दिया अगर कोई ऐसा बॉडी तो खत्म कर देगा बॉडी को, इतना डिजायर उसको एंजॉय करने का, इसलिए उसको खड़ा कर दिया एक जगह पे. पनिशमेंट, स्टैंडिंग पनिशमेंट, चुपचाप खड़े हो जाओ. कृपा से स्टैंडिंग पनिशमेंट. सो देयरफॉर ही सेज इफ समबडी इज लाइक अ फिल्म एक्ट्रेस, बहुत बॉडी दिखाते, ये वो बहुत दिखाया है, ठीक है, अगले लाइफ में तुमको पेड़ बना देंगे, एकदम शांति से बॉडी दिखाओ बस. So that is tree body. Mayavadis also they become tree because they want to become God. God will say, okay, I will make you God, standing like giving darshan to everyone. Become tree. तो मायावादी को भी ट्री बना देते हैं. So then this is so the third one is embryo covered by the womb. So here also the embryo is not visible when it is covered by the womb. It's a too much tight covering. It cannot be seen. So means the Krishna consciousness part cannot be seen. The womb is too much covering. The lust is too much covering. The real fire is too much covered. And the dust is too much on the mirror. And the smoke is still, the fire is visible. Even if the smoke is there, the fire is visible. So only in human form one can cultivate Krishna consciousness. It's mentioned in purport also. When lust is compared to smoke, it is understood that the fire of living spark can still be perceived. In other words, when the living entity exhibits Krishna consciousness slightly, he may be likened to that fire covered by smoke. Yes, if he is exhibiting Krishna consciousness slightly, it means his fire is there and smoke is there. Smoke is like covering of lust. Although fire is necessary where there is smoke, there is no over manifestation of fire in the early stage. This stage is like beginning of Krishna consciousness. The dust on the mirror refers to cleansing process of mirror of mind by so many spiritual methods. The best process is to chant the holy name of the Lord. The embryo covered by the womb is an analogy illustrating a helpless position for a child in the womb. Is so helpless that he cannot even move. This stage of living condition can be compared to that of trees. The trees also are the living entity, but they have been put in such a condition of life that by such great exhibition of lust that they are almost void of all consciousness. The covered mirror is compared to the bird and the beast. The see covered mirror is bird and beast, and the smoke covered fire is compared to the human beings. In the form of a human being, living entity may revive a little Krishna consciousness, and if he further makes further development, the fire of spiritual life can be kindled in human form of life by carefully handling of the smoke in the fire, and fire can be made to blaze. Therefore, human form of life is a chance for living entity to escape the entanglement of material existence. So, one can conquer over this enemy by cultivation of Krishna consciousness, only in human form. So, yes, we'll go ahead. आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पुरेण अनलेन च. Yes.
Thus, the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire.
Avritam jnanam etena. So what does this lust first does? Avritam, it covers the knowledge. And it is a ज्ञानिनो नित्य वैरिणा. मतलब जहां पे ज्ञानी व्यक्ति होगा ना, जो ज्ञानी का ज्ञान कवर करता है वो लस्ट ही है. तो immediately a ज्ञानी person should know, अरे this is lust is coming now. Immediately it will cover me. So he should run away. काम रूपेण कौन्ते दुष्पुरेण अनन्य च. Now if somebody thinks no, this is my friend, I should satisfy my friend. So then what this happens, that this friend is attracting the jnani to satisfy, but this friend is never satisfied. दुष्पुरेण अनलेन च. मतलब क्या है, ये सेटिस्फाई भी नहीं होता है और उसको तकलीफ भी देता है. Means the person who is trying to satisfy the lust, he is not able to satisfy also, and he is also getting agitated. So all the happiness of this world falls into this category. Means they will always agitate a person, करो 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 करो, हमको enjoy करो करो करो, और फिर करने के बाद अभी कुछ और बदलो बदलो बदलो, कुछ और enjoy करो, कुछ और enjoy, हमेशा ये like that, changing, never satisfied and burning like a fire, not allowing the person to sit peacefully. So therefore, a jnani person should understand who is my enemy. So the lust is the enemy. So Prabhupada mentions here, in Manu Smriti, the lust can't be satisfied by any amount of sense enjoyment, just as the fire is never extinguished by the constant supply of fuel. In the material world, the center of all activity is sex, and thus this material world is called Maithunagar, the shackles of sex life. In the ordinary prison house, criminals are kept within bars. Similarly, the criminals who are disobedient to the laws of Lord are shackled by sex life. Advancement of material civilization on the basis of sense gratification means increasing the duration of material existence of a living entity. Therefore, this lust is a symbol of ignorance by which the living entity is kept within the material world. While one enjoys sense gratification, it may be said that there is some feeling of happiness, but actually the so-called feeling of happiness is ultimately enemy of the sense enjoyer. Because it's a mathun aga, means it's a shackle. If a person enjoys the sense gratification, that enjoyment of sense gratification shackles him for further lives. अगले जीवन के लिए, अगले समय के लिए भी वो shackle हो जाता है. क्यों? Because he has got experience of enjoyment, and that experience of enjoyment, he is not become satisfied, but somehow is thinking, oh, I got some satisfaction, little happiness, very little happiness, and then he thinks, okay, again I will enjoy. Like that he becomes shackled. So here it's mentioned very clearly. The advancement of material civilization is on the basis of sense gratification. Means one has to increase one's material existence more and more. एक life, दूसरा life, तीसरा life, चौथा life, so many lives one has to take. So therefore, one has to get out of this shackle by cultivating spiritual attachment. Because this is a Maya. This is a Maya. And as we discussed in the beginning of this section, that everything is based on body only. Body is not a personality. It's simply a dress. It's simply a dress. So therefore lust is not a logical thing, because living entity can never become enjoyer. He's always enjoyed. But he thinks that I am an enjoyer. The main issue is another thing. Means if living entity says, Krishna, you give me first taste of spiritual enjoyment, then I will give it up immediately. But the thing does not happen in that way. Living entity has to sacrifice his material enjoyment by regulating first material enjoyment, and then slowly he has to sacrifice. He has to come to full dependence on Krishna. And after this full dependence on Krishna, then Krishna will give him certain rasa, dhir rasa denge, spiritual taste. Then he can get away. It means there is a path of austerity also. It's not so simple again. So shackle is there, at the same time ignorance, everything is there. But it is said that one has to, like, Kintu Adarat Anudinam Khalusaiva Jushtam. We have to chant holy name every day with respect and regularity, every day. रेस्पेक्ट के साथ करना है। उसमें रूप गोस्वामी ने ये नहीं बोला कि आपको आनंद आएगा, उसमें क्या बोला कि आपको जॉन्डिस है, इग्नोरेंस का जॉन्डिस है। आई एम दिस बॉडी, आई एम द एंजॉयर, दिस इज जॉन्डिस। एंड व्हेन यू चैंट द होली नेम, यू विल नॉट फील एक्सटेसी बिकॉज दैट इग्नोरेंस इज देयर। मतलब पीलिया है, दैट हेपेटाइटिस इज देयर, jaundice is there. So therefore, because of the jaundice, even if you are eating the sweet names of holy name, you will not feel the sweetness. The reason is jaundice is there. So he says, till the time you have jaundice, chant with respect and regularity. Every day do and respect के साथ करो। इसका मतलब ये बीच वाला जितना पीरियड है ना, रेस्पेक्ट वाला, सब ऑस्टेरिटी का है। ऑस्टेरिटी है स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में, इसलिए ऑस्टेरिटी है। अगर स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में ऐसे होता है ना एक्सचेंज, आप हमको दे दो प्रेम, हम आपको दे देंगे लस्ट, निकाल दो इसको, इजी होता बहुत। ऐसा है नहीं, प्रोसेस ऐसा नहीं है। बिकॉज इसका कारण एक ये भी है, क्योंकि भगवान हम पे फोर्स नहीं करना चाहते कोई भी चीज़, एकदम इमीडिएट नहीं रखना चाहते कि आप मेरे को ये दो मैं आपको ये दूंगा, नहीं। भगवान बोलते तुम आप जो करना तुम करो, इंजॉय करना पूरा करके आओ मेरे पास, सब छोड़ छाड़ के आओ, ये सब बहानेबाजी मत मारो मेरे सामने। गिव अप एवरीथिंग, कम टू योर सेंसेस, get beatings of Maya, everything. I will help you, no worry. I will send my guru, I will send my scriptures, everything. But give up everything. Become determined and then come to me. Then I will give you. So the whole proposal is like that. So therefore, though our process is very jolly, at the same time there is a austerity in that involved. So this is Nitya Vairi, one has to, and one should also understand. Like somebody, Billa Mangal Thakur also ran after Chintamani. When Chintamani said, "Arey, so much hard work you are doing for me. Even a bit of hard work you must have done for Krishna. You could have got Krishna so early." So this duspurena analena cha. This lust is never satisfied actually. Howsoever one may try, it's like a putting ghee in the fire. If somebody puts in the ghee in the fire of lust, so then the fire increases more and more. It appears that my fire is getting satisfied. नहीं, अब वो दूसरी चीज के लिए निकलेगा. It will keep asking. So then one should. So what is the solution then? Solution ऐसा नहीं कि मर जाएगा. Solution means he has to regulate his enjoyment propensity, and then slowly get rid of that propensity also. He has to regulate. Okay. Indriyani मनोबुद्धिर अस्याधिष्ठानाम उच्यते एतैर्विमोहत्येष ज्ञानम आवृत्य देहिनम।
The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him.
So these are some qualities of lust we can see. It is never satisfied, means duspurena, analena. It is also burning like a fire. It burns in the heart. I want. And even if you give, it is not satisfied. Therefore, you find the children when they ask for something ना, चाहिए, उनको आपको पता रहना चाहिए कि ये इसका लस्ट बोल रहा है बच्चे का। अभी उसका लस्ट वो सेंस में नहीं है, जेंडर में नहीं है, उसका लस्ट क्या है, चीज़ों में है। तो उसका बुद्धि उतना डेवलप नहीं हुआ है, चाहिए। तो उसको क्या है, वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड, इसको दिया भी ना, कल को दोबारा बदमाश हो जाएगा। आज मोबाइल मांगेगा, कल को कुछ और मांगेगा, इसलिए उसको तुरंत नहीं देना है, उसको भी रेगुलेट करना है। तो वन शुड नॉट फॉल प्रे टू द लव ऑफ चिल्ड्रन। ओके, इफ आई डोंट गिव व्हाट विल हैपन। So therefore, the children should be engaged, their lust should be engaged in some constructive activity so that they should not become violent in their desires. कहीं तो उनको engage करो. Like if somebody keeps children only at home, बाहर खेलने को नहीं भेजेंगे बच्चों को, इतना तंग करेगा बच्चा, घर को प्लेग्राउंड बना देगा वो. Like at one place, some children were complaining, parents were complaining. So we were discussing that, okay, children, what is the problem? Oh, our mothers, they say never play cricket in home. So then, so we said, yes, that is correct. We should not play cricket at home. So then the mothers, they said, अरे but हमने क्यों बोला? Because बाहर क्यों नहीं जाते खेलने को? इधर शीशा तोड़ेगा, ये तोड़ेगा, वो तोड़ेगा. Then children are saying, but there are old people in outside society. They come and they catch our ball and they never give back our balls. वो problem करते हैं. So then again the case came to parents. So what to be done? Provide them good playground so that they can play. So like the to and fro was going on. So the thing was that children need place for play. Otherwise they will trouble. उनको बाहर जितना उनका लस्ट बाहर निकालिए, खेलो, पैशन जितना खेलना है खेलो. इसीलिए आजकल लोग क्यों मोबाइल मांग रहे हैं, उनको खेलने को नहीं मिल रहा है, उनके सेंसेस सेटिस्फाई नहीं हो. खेलने दो उसको, दौड़ाओ कुदाओ, जितना उसका पैशन निकालेंगे ना वो शांत हो जाएगा. बस उसको दो ही चीज़ चाहिए, फिर खेलना और खाना. बस खाएगा, सोएगा और खेलेगा, बस इतना ही चाहिए बच्चे को. और ये नहीं निकलता है तो फिर माँ बाप को बहुत परेशान करता है. इसलिए बच्चों के लिए प्लेग्राउंड जरूरी है. प्रभुपाद बोलते हैं कि कैसे, हाउ वी शुड नरिश आवर चिल्ड्रन, वी शुड सी फ्रॉम कृष्णा लाइफ. कृष्णा यूज्ड टू प्ले अ लॉट. ये स्टडीज़ तो अभी का बना के रखा इन्होंने, पहले कोई नहीं पढ़ाई करता था. ठीक है, पढ़ाना है, दैट इज़ ओके, बट अगेन खिलाना भी है बच्चों को. So they should have good playground for playing. They should exercise their bodies nicely, so that they feel that yes, I am gaining some strength, I'm winning some games. तो उनको फील होना चाहिए. So then they will never come for ये मेरे को ये दे दो वो दे दो. उनको कहीं तो सक्सेस मिल रहा है ना, क्यों चाहिए ये सब चीज़ें. So let them have success in playing. Some like if they're playing football also, no problem. Play cricket, football, खेलो, उधर जाके निकालो जो करना है, बस. At least they are somewhat better than this video game, mobile, much better than them. Anyway, later they have to become IT engineers, so they have to sit on chair only. So let them play right now. नहीं तो आज ही से जो बैठ के करेंगे तो फिर कल क्या करेंगे. So here it's mentioned, wise living entities, pure consciousness become covered by eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. So here it's mentioned दुष्पुरेण अनलेन च. ये तो हो गया ना, नीचे आ गया. What are the sitting places of lust? 3 places. Now the enemies have been found. Enemy which is causing someone to commit sinful activity. What is that? Lust. Anybody who is becoming angry or who is too much चाहिए वो lust है. तो इसका मतलब क्या है कि उसका enemy कहाँ बैठा हुआ है? Senses में बैठा हुआ, mind में बैठा, intelligence में बैठा, 3 जगह पे बैठा हुआ है. Okay. And then this lust, what it does, it covers the real knowledge. So when somebody is too much lusty, he cannot identify what is right, what is wrong. Therefore children, they do not know what is good for them, because they have their mind, their senses, everything is growing, and they have lot of desires. ये चाहिए वो चाहिए वो चाहिए, उनको कुछ समझ में नहीं आता. इसलिए parents has to become their parental control. Parents को parental control बन के उनको कंट्रोल करना पड़ता है कि तुमको ये चाहिए, तुम यही लो बस. Constructive engagement should be there. If somebody is asking something more, we should see what I am not doing for him or her, that's why this desire is coming too much. Let me satisfy in other way, other constructive way, let me satisfy. So that way one should think. So okay, so it covers the real knowledge. Gyan avritya dehinam, and it bimohita, it also deludes the person, bewilders him. Gyanam avritya dehinam. Now if children they start watching some movies, so what will happen? Already lust भरा पड़ा है. मूवी भी देखेगा तो वो तो और अवेकन हो जाएगा. तो फिर वो ज्ञानम आवृत्त को क्या और आवृत्त कर देगा, उसका ज्ञान और खत्म हो जाएगा, विमोहित हो जाएगा. Therefore such movies are so dangerous actually. So much violence scene, so much romantic scenes, so that are not good for children, because already they are too much in passion. बच्चे पैशन में रहते हैं और ऊपर से ये पैशन का और अलग ही आवृत कर रहा है उसके ज्ञान को. जितना ज्ञान भरा है अच्छा चीज वो भी निकाल देगा. सो द लस्ट कवर्स आवर नॉलेज. इट नेवर, समटाइम पीपल थिंक लेट देम एक्सपीरियंस द वर्ल्ड. अरे दिस नॉट एक्सपीरियंस, दिस इज बिफूलिंग हिम एक्चुअली. डोंट मेक हिम फूल. नोबडी रिक्वायर्स टू नो व्हाट दे हैव टू डू इन द वर्ल्ड. अरे सबको पता है क्या करना है, किसी को सीखने की जरूरत नहीं है. सबको समझ में आता है, वो कितने जन्मों से इस संसार में रह रहा है, सबको पता है. So therefore we have to protect, not unnecessarily think that we have to allow them to face the world. That is foolishness. The enemy has captured the different strategic position in the body of the conditioned soul. Therefore Krishna is giving the hint of those places, so that one who wants to conquer the enemy may know where he can be found. The mind is the center of all activities of the senses, and thus when we hear about sense object, the mind generally becomes a reservoir of all the ideas of the sense gratification. As a result, the mind and senses become the repository of lust. Dhyayato Vishyan Pumsa. When we hear, mind will think about sense object, contemplation will start, and then lust will be there. So because of these ideas, the mind becomes filled with the lust. Because mind is contemplating on ideas of sense objects, then lust awakens immediately. Basically mind is calling, आजा आजा आजा, lust को बुला रहा है, फिर आ जाता है. Next, the intelligent department becomes capital of such lustful propensity. Intelligence is immediate next door neighbor of the spirit soul. What is the this function of intelligence? To discriminate. Now, if intelligence becomes lustful, then how it will discriminate? Lustful means the propensity to enjoy. So then intelligence will make some plan how we can enjoy and not also get caught. इंटेलिजेंस विल मेक सम प्लान. वो इंटेलिजेंस का काम है. तो क्योंकि वो लस्टफुल इंटेलिजेंस है, तो ऐसा प्लान करेगा कि कुछ गड़बड़ भी करे और पकड़ा भी ना जाए. तो वो हो गया लस्टफुल इंटेलिजेंस एक्चुअली. एंड lusty intelligence influences the spirit soul to acquire the false ego and identify itself with matter and thus with the mind and senses. So lusty intelligence influences the पिछले वाले को भी पकड़ के रखता है. आगे तो कर ही रहा है माइंड को गाइड इंटेलिजेंस, पीछे आत्मा को भी पकड़ के बैठा है. कौन? इंटेलिजेंस. एंड व्हाट इंटेलिजेंस इज टेलिंग? इंटेलिजेंस इज टेलिंग that you follow the false ego. Yes, that you are this body. Keep following so that we all will remain in the line. आत्मा भूलना नहीं, हम तेरे साथ हैं, लेकिन तू फॉल्स ईगो के साथ रहना, तभी हम तेरे साथ रह पाएंगे. तो आत्मा को इंटेलिजेंस कन्विंस करता है कि आप फॉल्स ईगो के साथ रहो, कि तुम शरीर हो, ये दुनिया में भोगना है, तभी तो हम लोग भी आगे काम करेंगे ना. हम लोग तो आपके सैनिक है. तो सैनिक तभी काम करेगा जब राजा अपने सही पोजीशन में होगा. तो राजा को बिल्डर करना जरूरी है. सो हियर द सोल इज to acquire false ego and identify with the matter, thus with the mind and senses. The spirit soul becomes addicted to enjoying the material senses and mistakes this as a true happiness. The false identification of the spirit soul is nicely explained in the. So there are 5 kinds of attachment Prabhupada mentions. This is that 5 kind of attachment. यस्यात्म बुद्धि, जिसकी बुद्धि कुनपे मतलब ये शरीर को कुनपे मतलब बैग बोलते. दिस आर बैग. त्रिधातु के 3 चीजों से बना है शरीर. किससे बना है? सो कफ पित्त वात, इससे बना है. म्यूकस बाइल एयर, इस तीनों से बना है शरीर. तो इस शरीर को खुद को मान लेना. स्वधि कलतादिशु, पत्नी और बच्चे परिवार को अपना मान लेना. ये दूसरा अटैचमेंट. पहला अटैचमेंट अपने को शरीर मानना. दूसरा अटैचमेंट अपने रिलेशंस में उनको अपना मान लेना. तीसरा अटैचमेंट जहाँ पे जन्म लिया है उसकी पूजा करना, उस जमीन की पूजा करना. भारत माता की जय, वंदे मातरम. चौथा क्या है? तीर्थ बुद्धि. मतलब तीर्थ बुद्धि क्या है? तीर्थ तो केवल प्रयाग में ही है, कलकत्ता में नहीं है. कलकत्ता में तो गंदा पानी आता है, वहाँ पे गटर का पानी मिक्स हो जाता है. तो वहीं पे नहाएंगे, यहाँ पे नहीं नहाएंगे. गंगा कभी इम्प्योर नहीं होती है. Prabhupada says कि in Calcutta there are the many gutters, water they are falling in Ganges. There are some stools also floating in the Ganga. So when sadhus they have to take bath, they will make the stool away through, ऐसे करके भगा देंगे उसको और फिर वो नहाएंगे वहाँ पे. तो Prabhupada says there कि actually Ganga is a transcendental, it's on spiritual position, it can never be polluted. So one has to take bath in that faith. So whatever dirt is there, you make it aside and take bath. काम खत्म. सलिले ना करहिचित. हाँ. So and then जनेशु अभिज्ञेशु means again going to pilgrim places only for taking bath, नहाने के लिए, साधु से सुनने के लिए नहीं. तो ये प्रपात बोलते हैं कि ये 5 तरह के अटैचमेंट्स होते हैं लोगों में. इसको गोखर बोलते हैं, गाय और गधा. Okay, we'll go ahead. We'll finish this chapter 41. Okay, just read the translation.
Therefore, O Arjuna, best of Bharatas, in the very beginning curb this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization.
So what is that? Pap manam prajahati he enam prajahi he enam jnanam vijnanam nasanam. So this is a jnana and vijnana nasanam. Lust is a jnana and vijnana nasanam. So okay. So how to control this lust is attacking our senses, mind and intelligence. So Krishna says begin with your senses, because intelligence and mind are too high for us. First begin with senses. तो तस्मात् त्वम इंद्रियाणि आदो, सबसे पहले इंद्रियों से चालू करो लस्ट को कंट्रोल करना. इंद्रिया आदो, Krishna says, and it is a finishing or gyan and vigyan. So vigyan means practical knowledge, gyan means theoretical knowledge. So somebody who is covered by lust, he forgets his practical knowledge and theoretical knowledge, both. So what is it? The Lord advises Arjuna to regulate the senses from the very beginning so that he can curb the greatest enemy, lust, which destroys the urge for the self-realization and the specific knowledge of the self. The Gyan refers to knowledge of self as distinguished from the non-self. Vigyan refers to specific knowledge of the spirit, soul, constitution, position and his relationship to the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada always mentioned Vigyan means bhakti and Gyan means this knowledge that I am a soul. And Vigyan means what is my relationship with the Lord, how I have to serve him. So that is like bhakti. So Gyan Vigyan. So his activities are also finished and his knowledge also finished by lust. So one should control or regulate one's senses first of all. Therefore, because what are our senses? 10 senses are there. 5 Gyanindriya, 5 Karmindriyas. So then we have to regulate those things. Basically, why Krishna is saying that? Don't over pollute yourself. अभी ऑलरेडी पोल्यूशन अंदर है, सेंसेस में भरा है, माइंड में भरा है, सब कुछ भरा हुआ है. अब सेंस अगर सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ आएगा तो और लस्ट बढ़ेगा. इसलिए रेगुलेट करो पहले सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट का मिलन को. द मीटिंग ऑफ सेंसेस एंड सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट, फर्स्ट रेगुलेट दैट. That is called sense regulation. When senses are meeting with sense object, regulate that first. Don't over pollute yourself. पहले already pollution है, तो पहले उसको regulate करो. Therefore there are sanskaras, 16 sanskaras are there in the human life for regulation. हर एक चीज के लिए regulation है, कैसे जीना, कैसे, वही I was discussing same thing. So regulation is so important in life. Otherwise what will happen? That lust is already there inside. वो उसको और आग लगाएगा और लगाएगा और बढ़ेगा वो. And that's why we find nowadays children are, the growing people are dissatisfied in life. They are very much agitated, no peace of mind. Why? They are disturbed by lust. और कुछ नहीं, यही है. Propensity to enjoy has been frustrated too much. What happens? Like when you want to go to some shop and purchase something, and then you do not know which shop is there, and you go in a city where आपको पता ही नहीं कि कोई शॉप किधर मिलेगा, तो आप क्या करते हो? आप बाइक चला रहे हो, इधर देखते हो ये वाला शॉप है तो नहीं, अगला जाते ये वाला तो नहीं है, ये वाला तो नहीं है, ये वाला तो नहीं है. आप फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाओगे कुछ समय के बाद. देन यू विल आस्क समबडी, भैया ये शॉप किधर है, और उसको भी नहीं पता, तो और फ्रस्ट्रेशन. तो जब तक आपको गोल नहीं पता कि हाँ उस शॉप में मेरे को जाना है, व्हेन यू नो दैट आई हैव टू गो टू दैट शॉप, इमीडिएटली यू विल एक्सेलरेट योर बाइक एंड गो. इमीडिएटली वहीं पे, आप कोई शॉप को नहीं जाने वाले, किसी को नहीं देखने वाले. Directly go to the shop and then get your things. Then you'll be happy. So Prabhupada says why we are not happy actually when mind does not find the goal. कि कहाँ से मेरे को real satisfaction मिलेगा. वो हर जगह ट्राई मारता है, इधर से मिलेगा, हाँ इधर से मिलेगा, इधर से मिलेगा, इधर से मिलेगा, तो माइंड फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाता है. इसलिए लोगों को रेगुलेट करना जरूरी है कि भैया ये कहीं से नहीं मिलेगा, तुम्हारे लिए यही है, इसी को करो बस. दिस इज कॉल्ड रेगुलेशन. टू गिव देम अ टेलर मेड इंस्ट्रक्शन, टेलर मेड इंजॉयमेंट, यही करो बस, इसमें आपको सुख मिलेगा, ऐसा. सो माइंड रिक्वायर्स अ गोल. अदरवाइज इफ ही गोज टू एवरी सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट, इधर से इधर ले लो, ये ले लो, ये ले लो, ये ले लो, ये ले लो, फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाएगा. तो आज अगर हम ज़्यादा सेंसेस को ओपन कर देते हैं, कुछ भी देने को तैयार हैं, तो वो बाद में वो व्यक्ति अशांत रहता है, क्योंकि उसने कभी भी रेगुलेशन पालन नहीं किया जीवन में अपने. इसलिए regulated life is so much important. Krishna mentioning the first beginning of controlling lust is to regulate one's senses for eating, for sleeping, for युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्त चेष्टस्य कर्मसु योग अयुक्त सपनाव बोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः. ईटिंग, स्लीपिंग, रिक्रिएशन, सबका रेगुलेशन होना चाहिए. सभी सेंसेस पे हो रहा है. अभी कोई ज़्यादा काम करेगा ऑफिस में 12-14 घंटा, वो भी डिससेटिस्फाइड हो जाएगा. क्यों? क्योंकि वो रेगुलेट नहीं कर रहा अपने को. किसी भी सेंसुअल एक्टिविटी में जितना ज़्यादा घुसेगा व्यक्ति, वो फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाएगा. उसको रेगुलेशन करना जरूरी है. एवरीथिंग शुड बी रेगुलेटेड. तो देयरफॉर इट्स मेंशन हियर. स्लीपिंग आल्सो, 12 घंटे सोएगा, फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाएगा वो. सो इट हैज टू बी देयर. Bhagavad Gita gives us the general and specific knowledge of the self. The living entities are part and parcel of the Lord, and therefore they are simply meant to serve the Lord. The consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada adds here point, from the very beginning of life one must learn Krishna consciousness, and therefore one can become fully Krishna conscious and act accordingly. This is a very good advantage. If some children are becoming Krishna conscious from birth, they will be saved from further degradation of lust. But Krishna consciousness does not mean simply उनको Krishna consciousness means उनको training चाहिए. पंचवस लालयत पंचवर्षाणि षोडश वर्षे ताड़येत. 16 साल तक ताड़ना है. सो मतलब 6 साल से 16 साल तक उनको डिसिप्लिन सिखाना है. नहीं सीखेंगे तो भूल जाओ, फिर आपको सिखाएंगे. देन दे विल टीच पेरेंट्स. कैसे हम आपको सिखाएंगे, आपको क्या करना चाहिए. तो इट इज़ आल्सो इम्पॉर्टेंट टू टीच देम डिसिप्लिन. So senses can be regulated by discipline. Yes. Lust is only perverted reflection of love of body, which is natural for the living entities. Chalo, we'll go ahead. Indriyani paranyahur indriyabhya param manaha manasastu para buddhir yo buddhi paratastu saha. Okay, I think devotees are going. कितना बाकी है हमारा? ये अगला लास्ट श्लोक है. ठीक है, इसको खत्म कर दें. क्या लगता है आपको, ये कल करना है? डिसीजन फ्रॉम डिवोटीज. यस डिवोटीज, क्या करना है? खत्म करना है एक श्लोक? बोले यार प्रभु जी, बोले. हाँ
यस प्रभु, यस
खत्म कर दे. ठीक है, जस्ट वेट करिए. ठीक है, यस माता जी पढ़िए. यस
थोड़ा
यस.
Working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind, and he, the soul, is even higher than the intellect.
हाँ, अब ये बताया कि कौन किधर आ रहा है. हायरार्की जरूरी है, ये बहुत जरूरी है. दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. हायरार्की. जब प्रॉब्लम आता है तो उसके सीनियर के पास जाना पड़ता है कि नहीं? जहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम आता है उससे ऊपर जाके सॉल्व होता है. सेंसेस डल मैटर से ऊपर है. ठीक है, तो सेंस कंट्रोल किया तो डल मैटर का कोई मतलब ही नहीं, आराम से कंट्रोल. उसके ऊपर है मन. मन इज हायर देन द सेंसेस. मन को कंट्रोल कर दिया तो व्यक्ति सेंसेस भी कंट्रोल हो जाएगा. उसके ऊपर क्या है? आती है इंटेलिजेंस है. इंटेलिजेंस अगर स्ट्रांग हो गया तो इट इज पॉसिबल दैट माइंड कैन एवरीथिंग कैन बी कंट्रोल्ड. एंड देन अबव दैट इज सोल. If soul is convinced of his Krishna consciousness, then he can take care of anything. All mind, intelligence and senses it can take care. So then Krishna is saying ultimately the soul is the topmost. If you have spiritual knowledge, so then you will get lot of support from soul to control this, because some purport back we read that this lusty intelligence only convinces soul to identify with false ego. क्योंकि उस समय लस्टी इंटेलिजेंस का जमाना चल रहा था. अभी कृष्णा बोल रहे हैं कि सोल सबसे ऊपर. अगर सोल का जमाना चलाओ, मीन्स सोल को स्ट्रांग कर दो, सो दैट इट विल कंट्रोल ऑल द डाउन पीपल एंड इवन फॉल्स ईगो ऑल्सो. सो हियर वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड. सो देयरफॉर द सोल इज द टॉप मोस्ट. इफ यू वर्क ऑन द सोल, इट इज क्वाइट पॉसिबल टू कंट्रोल ऑल दिस थिंग्स. बट इफ यू आर ओनली वर्किंग अपॉन माइंड और इंटेलिजेंस, तो इंटेलिजेंस के ऊपर फॉल्स ईगो है, वो कवर कर सकता है. फॉल्स ईगो है इंटेलिजेंस के ऊपर, बट उसके ऊपर आत्मा है. सो आत्मा पे कॉन्टेक्ट यहाँ पे बात किया जा रहा है. द सेंसेस आर डिफरेंट आउटलेट्स ऑफ द एक्टिविटीज ऑफ लस्ट. लस्ट इज रिजर्व्ड विद इन द बॉडी, बट इट इज गिवन वेंट थ्रू द सेंसेस. देयरफॉर द सेंसेस आर सुपीरियर टू द बॉडी एज अ होल. These outlets are not in use when there is superior consciousness or Krishna consciousness. These outlets are not in use when person is Krishna conscious. मतलब जो आत्मा के ऊपर आ गया है वो नीचे की चीज़ों को कंट्रोल कर सकता है. In Krishna consciousness, the soul makes a direct connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the hierarchy of bodily functions as described ultimately ends in the Supreme Soul. Bodily action means the function of the senses, and stopping the senses means stopping all bodily actions. But since the mind is active, then even though the body may be silent, at rest the mind will act, as it does during the dreaming. But above the mind is determination of the intelligence, and above the intelligence is soul proper. If therefore the soul is directly engaged in supreme naturally all the subordinates, namely intelligence, mind and senses, will automatically be engaged. In the Katha Upanishad, there is a similar passage in which it is said that object of sense gratification are superior to the senses. हाँ वो same passage है, वो आता है. Okay, this mental attitude has been clearly explained. Param drishtva nivartati. If the mind is engaged in transcendental service of the Lord, there is no chance of being engaged in the lower propensity. In the Katha Upanishad, the soul has been described as the Mahan, the great. Therefore, the soul is above, namely all the sense objects and the senses and the mind. It means, Prabhupada clearly mentioned in 7th canto, if someone is always thinking, I am servant of Krishna, any sensual desire comes, I am servant of Krishna, I am servant of Krishna, I will serve Krishna only, I will not serve my mind and senses, then nobody can touch him. Prabhupada says all नौ विधा भक्ति ही कैन एग्जीक्यूट. अगर कोई ये हमेशा माइंड में रखता है या अपने को उस दृढ़ विश्वास के साथ, मैं भगवान का दास हूँ, आई एम सिंपली सर्वेंट ऑफ कृष्णा, व्हाट इज दिस डिजायर, आई डोंट वांट टू फुलफिल बिकॉज दिस डज नॉट प्लीजेस कृष्णा, आई शुड नॉट फुलफिल. It means he is at the level of the soul, he is thinking and he is practicing. So then he will be protected. Other levels, intelligence और ये उसमें गिरने का चांसेस है. बट ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, मैं कृष्ण दास हूँ, भगवान का, मैं गुरु की कृपा से भक्ति कर रहे हैं. वी आर सर्विंग गुरुदेव, वी आर सर्विंग कृष्णा, वी आर सर्विंग वैष्णवास. सो टेकिंग शेल्टर इन दिस वे, one can protect oneself from falling down. So therefore it's mentioned the soul is Mahan, the great. The soul is beyond all such things. So lust can only cover our senses, intelligence and mind, never the soul. Soul is always away, and so the soul can control everything. The enemy is not attacking our soul, enemies are attacking our material faculties, mind, intelligence and senses. So first Krishna said control senses, बाद में भगवान बोल रहे कि अब भैया तू आत्मा पे आ जा, क्योंकि आत्मा सबसे ऊपर है. आत्मा को अगर लगाया तो ये सब पॉसिबल है कंट्रोल कर पाना. दिस इज देयर. एवं बुद्धे परम बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्य व्हाट इज दिस संस्तभ्य आत्मानम आत्मना जहि शत्रु महाबाहो कामरूपम दुरासदम.
As knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust.
Therefore, children should be taught how to engage. Krishna consciousness does not mean only giving spiritual knowledge. Engage. When Krishna says इंद्रियानि आदौ, इंद्रियों के साथ चालू करो, तो एंगेज करो सेंसेस को कृष्णा कॉन्शियस एक्टिविटी में. सो चिल्ड्रन शुड बी टॉट हाउ टू बी एंगेज्ड इन कृष्णा कॉन्शियस एक्टिविटीज, एंड द सेम टाइम knowledge should be given to them, so that they can become thoughtful also. This is important. Therefore कौमार आचरेत प्रज्ञा धर्मान भागवताम यह दुर्लभम मानसम जन्म. कौमार से उनको भागवत धर्म में लगाना है. So here it's mentioned that knowing oneself to be transcendental to material senses, mind and intelligence, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence. See, same thing written here. Evam buddhe param buddhva. Thus to the intelligence, superior knowing, one should know that I am superior to intelligence. Samsthabhya, by steadying atmanam atmana, the mind by deliberate intelligence. See, आत्मा का मतलब तीनों होता है. Sometime it is intelligence, sometime it is body, sometime it is mind also. Conquer jahi satrum mahabaho. So one should know that I am superior to mind, senses and intelligence, and with that knowledge of superiority of Krishna consciousness, one should control all the satru. इस शत्रु को कंट्रोल करना है by spiritual intelligence basically. Okay, so now this is ending of the third chapter. So the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita conclusively is a directive to Krishna consciousness by knowing oneself as the eternal servitor of the Lord, without considering impersonal voidness, the ultimate end. In the material existence of life, one is certainly influenced by propensity for lust and desire for dominating the resources of material nature. Desire for overlording and for sense gratification is the greatest enemy of the conditioned soul. But by the strength of Krishna consciousness, one can control the material senses, the mind and intelligence. One may not give up the work and prescribed duties all of a sudden, but by gradually developing Krishna consciousness, one can be situated in transcendental position without being influenced by material senses and mind, by steady intelligence directed towards one pure identity. This is the sum and substance of this chapter. In the immature stage of material existence, philosophical speculation and artificial attempts to control senses by the so-called practice of yoga posture can never help a man towards his spiritual life. But he must be trained in Krishna consciousness by higher intelligence. So at last this chapter ends with this, that we have to control this forever enemy through spiritual intelligence. That is not yoga posture or some other attempts, philosophical speculation, only by Krishna consciousness. Okay, we'll end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Tomorrow we'll begin the next chapter, 4th chapter. कोई क्वेश्चन है तो कल पूछ सकते हैं आगे को, या क्या है?
प्रभु हरे कृष्ण।
ओके, हरे कृष्ण। विल एंड हियर। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।